Oh, fuck off, laisse bouche à bande.
So I'm going to go and find and do some more books, do some more uploading to the Now library. We have Joe Felz, all his original books. Hi, much love. Can you guys tap the screen? Oh, you already started. Thank you so much. Thank you. Much love to you too. And then there should be like a button somewhere around here. It's like a little arrow that points this way. If you tap that, it'll say repost. Can you repost this a couple times, people? A couple people repost it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Y'all are so nice. Thank you so much. We're gonna go ahead and do some more fun activities while we're live today that we've been doing. We're gonna do some things. We're gonna find more books, and we're gonna have them uploaded to our site. That just is on your site ain't Joe's Color Pages version. Well, that's because they weren't the same version. We did get a it's not Color Pages. It is a scanned copy, but it's not scanned in color. It's scanned in black and white, but it's a real scanned copy. I'm sorry it's not in color, but it's the real words. I hope you can be happy just knowing you have the full version. Woo! Yes! Woo! Or whatever that is. Thank you for just being here, everybody. You don't have to send me no gifts or anything. Emojis work just as good. Emojis are fun. We don't have to pay TikTok no nothing. That's like tax. So yeah. The only gift I like, please no gifts. The only gift I will accept is a heart. Me, those are cool. Those are like a penny, so that's like okay. I'm not like nobody's making anything off of that. But how many books are on total right now? Let me tell you. We're gonna add more. We're actually gonna do a search because I know now that this is more viral, like by accident, and that people want, or that more people know about it than the day one people, I'm sure we could get more secrets, and that was the plan. And since now I can keep the site up, and everybody thinks that I couldn't, I can. That's why I was doing this project, because obviously Joe's original, his legacy site or whatever the hell, the real whatever, joefelzbooks.com, that is the files don't work. And I'm sure it's not because of anybody made it to where, oh, you can't download the files. It is because they were attacked with viruses and Trojans, and they corrupted the files like they tried to do with my site. But since Joe's not there, no one's there fixing his site. I'm fixing this one actively. So that's how we made them stay up. So now that it's up and it's working and it's stayed working for this long, we're going to try and get some more books added to the library. We have everything that Joe had, but we want more. So yeah. Thank you for calling out Joe's girlfriend, Kissy Face. Oh, absolutely. And it's not necessarily anything to be mean towards her, but it's like, come on now. You did say till the investigation is over. It is over. So now we can ask questions. It's over. So that was our, it's fair. Our questions we can be asked. Where's the information? And the investigation's over. So there we go. So there was that. What's the new one? The new one what? The new book? Well, so how many books? That was the first question. We have 106 books on here now. We have 11 books on magic. We have 9 books on free energy, 3 apothecary, 22 ancient texts, 61 different things about the Bible, different Bible books, missing books, a full Geneva version from 1560. There's, the Protestant Bible. There's the book of Tobit, Judith, the book of wisdom, the book of Manassas, the idol bell and the dragon, the Ecclesiasticus, and the Gospel of Jesus' mother Mary, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, the Gospel according to Peter, all these missing Bibles. So yeah, well, that's the thing. Free archive sites don't have what we have. We have things that they just don't have. You can get PDFs that are written of these books, but we have the original books scanned, like the Geneva Bible. There's only 150 copies of that Bible. We have one of them scanned and ready for you to upload. That's a 5-figure book. It's almost priceless to even have one of those. Yeah, so here you go. So I know that you have been fed misinformation by all these TikTokers that are like, you can get on archive.com. Why haven't you? Why haven't they? They've tried to recreate Joe Felz books, but they don't have what we have. We gave Joe Felz books, the original ones he was showing, but we did something else. We had a collaborated effort with thousands of people around the world at one time, finding secrets at one time. That was the kill man switch. You guys don't understand. Now you can't get the 400,000 books that we've procured. We've locked them down. We've given you Joe Felz books. We've given you more than what he was giving you, and now we've gotten more. So you were given what you were promised. You were never promised anything that was what we have now. And now there's TikTokers trying to destroy the message. So we're protecting it. You can't stop it. You know, I just can do techie stuff just too well. And all these people offering help didn't understand the first message. Like that one guy who keeps posting like my responses, but I sent him a DM. He won't respond to my DMs, but he'll make TikTok videos about my comments and wants me to respond through there so he can get clout. But it's like, and he's like, what do you mean you're having fucking all these files downloaded everywhere? That doesn't make any sense. You tell me I don't understand the mission. And I'm like, yeah, dude, you don't understand the mission. We had a collaborated effort. I didn't have any books. If I had all the information, I could have got killed up. Yeah, we had thousands of people uploading those secret books. So you just don't understand. The archive library doesn't have these. Congress library doesn't have everything like this. They might have a written, typed out PDF file, but they don't have the original book scanned like we're giving you. Look at the ancient book of like the ancient magic, magnetism, the L.H. Anderson books. We've given you the real, those books are worth $9,000 or more. You have the real colored copies scanned of those. So he offered you one book by L.H. Anderson. We gave you 3 or 4. What money? What money? You're one of those people. You're one of those people that makes posts about me. I actually saw it, but that's cute. Thank you for posting it and doing the algorithm. I'm glad you hear and you see the message. But everybody go ahead and tell that guy right here, get out of here. I'm not gonna block him, but go ahead, get APAC out of this government. This guy right here is like completely against the mission, makes fake TikToks about us, is trying to tell you that everything's on archive and has no idea what we did to get what we got. It's kind of funny. Yeah, this guy right here. See, he's upset. He's mad. He's gaslit now. I've turned the tables on the demons inside him, and he's just gaslit now. So if you want to do the same thing, you can do the same thing. They're trying to just they're always watching. They're always trying to get content, but I think it's cute. It helps. It helps spread the mission. It helps people who really need to find us. I don't need to close my windows. You climb up the 4th floor. Climb. Okay, honey. All of you. I don't have fear. You might try to think that I don't know. I'm just not scared of you guys. You guys are funny. You guys are just TikTokers. I don't normally TikTok. I'm just being real, so what we're doing now is going to add some of those ancient texts. We're going to make this live interesting. So I'm going to add some of those ancient texts that haven't been touched on the site yet. Let me go through and see what's not on here. I have everything because where everybody uploaded those 400,000 files, it's still attached to my project that you guys thought you were gonna go hack, and so I unpublished it, and so I have all of those files in my database, and you can't access anything. So now it's locked down. It's not on the internet protocol anymore. Oh, you are awesome, fan supporters, and thank you for the heart me's. Yes, thank you. That's the only gift I'll accept. Please don't send nothing else. This is important work. Thank you. You're so welcome. Don't create a group. It's a trap. I think that your message is, a trap. I think you need to actually find a group because you're more stronger with people than you are by yourself. So yeah. Upload. Let's see. You want hypostasis of the archons? Let's upload that one. Hypostasis. No, let me see. That's not rare enough. That's only from 1945. We want... What do you guys want uploaded? What do you see there? I want to learn more about free energy. So we have, for free energy, we have 9 books. So if you want... So Joe had that one book. I even titled it on here so you can find it easily. When you go on the website and you put in free energy, like you click the free energy tab, it shows Joe's book, Ancient Magic Magnetism. That one, and it says like the description that it's a $9,000 for a hard copy of that book. We also have its sisters, L.H. Anderson, The Key to Mental and Physical Power. We also have L.H. Anderson. Oh wait, it's uploaded. No, that's just the ones. Where's the other one? We have the Bearden Final Secret of Free Energy. We have Dirty Electricity. We have Creative Archetype. Let's see, Free Energy. We have the Manual of Free Energy Devices, Magnetism and Magnetic Materials. We have Radium and the Secret of Life. There's another L.H. Anderson book I haven't uploaded. I can tell now because there's only 2 up here. We have 3. Let me see which one it is that I haven't uploaded. Oh, there's also the Ether of Space. The Undiscovered Self, which is a very, about what we were talking about earlier. The Epic of Gilgamesh. The Vaulted Firmament, but that one I also read it. I could tell it's just like completely. I read some of it, and I could just tell there's like a whole bunch of books about Israel. Here, I'll upload some of these. Nah, I don't know. Hold on, one second. I'm trying to think. The next one needs to be like really good. Here, the Sacred Geometry Light Source Experiment. I'll add that to free energy for you. All right. Submit. Wait, free energy. There we go. Submit. All right, I'm adding another one for you. Definitely more free energy books. Okay, got you. Upload the library, free energy. And that's the thing. You can freaking have your archive.com websites. This one's nice and organized for exactly what we're looking for. So you don't have to dig and find. It's just right freaking here. Review, approve, okay. So that sacred geometry should be available now. That helps you understand a lot of what I was talking about earlier. Who was here earlier? Old Bibles. There's lots on there. Have you seen? Is it on Discord? I don't put anything on Discord because listen, I have to have everything on a website that I can have control of. You don't understand. There's a lot of people that are trying to destroy the community. The community can have access, but there's also a lot of like other people who want access because they're trying to mimic the community, create sites, pretend to be me. They can't pretend to be Joe because he's not here, but they can pretend to be me and pretend to try and. That's what we're dealing with now. Is just people trying to confuse the community. And people want community, and there's a lot of people asking for this to happen. So it's going to happen for those people, even if it's just 5 people. Then we're a community of 5 people. Big deal. Leave us alone. We're 5 people. You shouldn't even care. Why do you care what we do? So that's just what we're doing, and that's how I'm going to defend it. And I'm pretty sure the people a part of it will defend it in the same way because they feel the vision. They understand. May I have the website? It's in my bio. It is called theholyword.net. Yes, I've been hydrating. I actually just had some really good food. Can I have another one? Thank you. Thank you for thank you. A case of water earlier. We got what needed to drink. I'm drinking. Theholyword.net. If someone could put it into the chat and I'll pin it, please. Oracle Grace, do you want to come up here? I'll put you up here. I was gonna pin it, but I can't pin comments when someone's up here. So that right there, theholyword.net. Someone just put it in. I thought you're the holy. No, the Bible Access is your name. No, yeah, they're both mine. But Bible Access is what has all 400,000 books. I've shut it down. What happened? What happened, Oracle? I hear you, but you're breaking up. What's up? I think there's something going on. Harry, can you request back up and I'll bring you right back up? I think there's like a glitch going on. Brennan, did you? There you the best. If you request back up, I'll bring you back up. I'm not gonna twist your arm, but you can absolutely come back up. So, you guys want to read some pages out of a book or something? You want to hear just I don't know. What do you want to hear a page of? I know some people are into the actual whole thing of just the discovery of this, but I am ready to start reading some of it. You know. So, all right. So we're gonna go on the Holy Word right now. You can go ahead and we're gonna go look up that book. It's called, because this is, Joe Felz thing. Let's start with his most sought after book. Let's look at, it'll be titled on the website, Joe's book, Ancient Magic, Magnetism, and Psychic Forces. If you go there, download it, we can all read it together. So I'm going to open it and start on the first page. If anybody wants to come on here and read it along and read a chapter or whatever they want to do, you can come up here as well and read with us. Please look up. What is that? Can someone look this up for me? Hi. You're so welcome. I'm so grateful for you. Um, you give me a purpose, something to feel like I did something right. So absolutely, the more you need, the more I'll do. So if we're all on the first page, we're starting with ancient magic, magnetism, and psychic forces, the key to power, and we're reading out of the real colored scanned book. You can tell by the pages. Some of them are torn as it goes through the scans, but it's real, and you can see everything clear. So the introduction. I'm gonna wait till my brother's done coughing. Oh wait, that's not my brother. That's Christian. We read the times. Read the Bible. All right, so put in the chat. Do you want Joe's book or the Bible? Put in the chat. We're going to go. We'll go on a vote, and we'll see what people want to listen to. If we read the Bible, we'll start with the 1560 Geneva. Joe's book. You got it, you guys. We'll start here. You got it, you guys. This person's like, this is the end of time. Read the damn Bible. I get you. We're still on that mission, but some people, when we spread the message, we can't just keep repeating the message over and over and over to the same people who stay here. So now it's time to relax. Let's have some story time. Let's appreciate why we're here. So the introduction of Joe's book, The Ancient Magic, Magnetism, and Psychic Forces. Of the nature and character of work like the following, nothing need be said. It is enough that at a moment when the public mind occupies itself with the class of subjects on which it treats, the researches of an earnest and... Okay, I'll start over. I'm so sorry, you guys. Of the nature and character of work like the following, nothing need be said. It is enough that at a moment when the public mind occupies itself with the class of subjects on which it treats, the researches of an earnest and indefatigable student cannot be unimportant, even though the reader may not always arrive at the same conclusion that he has done. So basically, we can all read the same thing, but we don't all get the same message. Thus, it appears to me that while we cannot deny the extraordinary psychological phenomena which are familiar to the experience of every human being, they are yet capable of certain explanation wherever we are enabled to arrive at the circumstances which render the mind receptive of such impressions. The susceptibility either of individuals or bodies of people to these influences seem to presuppose an abnormal condition. Different readers will look at this book from very different points of view. By some, it will be esteemed only as curiosity. Others will find matter for further research. One will wish to learn magic arts from it, and another will draw from it philosophical conclusions. All will be welcome, and will find, I believe, if not instruction, at least amusement and ample food for reflection. For it treats of remarkable phenomena and uncommon effects, which have certainly been hitherto looked upon as mere phantoms or as belonging to a sphere quite unconnected with nature, but which nevertheless are a portion of history, and surely on that account are of universal interest. Magnetism, by its remarkable phenomena, in modern times has led us into a sphere which still, like closed book, contains secrets of a higher order of things lying beyond the familiar, everyday history of nature. Before the discovery of magnetism, it was believed that science had already exhausted the world, and that the human mind had noted down on the map of natural and inner life everything that could or could not exist in heaven and earth. Magnetism itself stood in the background. It was looked upon as something that is nothing and cannot exist. such as obsolete, dusty charts, are still often found hanging over the desks of zealous champions who, in knightly manner, fight boldly against deceit and destruction for the beautiful, prepared possession. Now, however, magnetism, not content with its manifold wonders, leads the way back into the mysterious domain of exploded magic, gathers up old tales and long forgotten laws of mysterious action from a transcendental world which, estimated at one hand, that presents standard of science as valueless, and on the other, orthodox dogmas as the work of the devil, whilst the former thus fears to be led back into the gloom of the mystical twilight of the past by such attempts as are described in this book, where only the phantasms of faith and miracles play their wild game. The latter resist boldly in the anxious fear lest all miracles should cease to be miraculous. The contents of this book are without reference to the above-mentioned contradictory motives, chiefly occupied with those mesmeric appearances which were formerly called magic and now magnetic. In the present state of opinion, therefore, it cannot, of course, aspire to universal approbation. It may, however, if it does not interest, at least not be generally displeasing, as the author seeks everywhere with complete impartiality only the historical traces of true facts, and the phenomena connected with them, compares these and endeavors to lead them back to certain laws of nature, which in truth may be considered as something more than mere polluted pools or decayed pillars. Sorry, I have to zoom this in. I'm reading it on a big screen that is, there we go. Does anyone else want to join and read? Are we reading from the same book? Oh yeah, so if you're just joining in, the book that we're reading from is Ancient Magic, Magnetism, and Psychic Forces by L.H. Anderson, Joe's most sought after book. All right, so I'll continue reading. Sorry, you guys. If some which are discussed do not always bear the impress of infallible truth, or even if some principles on which they are based be not the firmest, still it cannot be easily said that they are invented or that it is all deception. Even if they are, Jesus, I'm sorry, I need someone else to read. Even if they were really true, of which indeed we have many proofs, I read too much. I need someone else to. This is why we need the book club. Trying to understand it, read it, and also put in the tier 3 English words that it's using. Because I'm gonna tell you, if you don't have a good, you're gonna have to be very smart to be able to understand this book, which. It's very simple. It's basically explaining that magnetism is what forms and is what is now, or magic is now what is considered magnetism. And so it just basically, that was the introduction of what we just went over. And it says that everybody who reads this book is going to take something different from it. You're either going to find it amusing, or you're going to seek further research from it. It's in the holyword.net. It's on my profile. So I just don't want to keep misspeaking. I have a speech impediment, so I can control it for so long, but then the muscles in my mouth get weak. So I'll keep trying if you want me to. But even if they were really true, of which indeed we have many proofs, we may here and there find occasion to give them more consideration and to test the utility of their application in order, perhaps, to succeed in discovering constant forces, even in the midst of more frequent actions in clearing away many difficulties which general science does not solve, and in opening a wider field of operations for human activity so that it may attain at least the exalted end of spiritual destiny. The author of the last 18 years has moved on the still uncultivated field of the wonderful phenomenon of magnetism, and after having one ascertained its reality and have been convinced of the striking effects voluntarily produced by it, he believes it his duty, in accordance with the saying, that a grain of experience is of more value in medicine than a book full of reasoning, to preserve with a certain self-sacrifice and constancy of which not all are capable. He considered his first necessary task to be the making of experiments for the discovery of a fixed law for these phenomena. As it soon appeared that such regularities really existed, the error codes we were talking about, the next thing required was to search in history for those similar mysterious phenomena which show a greater or less relation to those of magnetism. General accordance is now found everywhere and at all times, and thus common laws may now be assumed for all those wonderful phenomena and problems. Errors, as I was just talking about earlier. This justifies the axiom that all such remarkable phenomena as are in accordance with magnetism are in general true. The author feels now with a certain joy which none can repress that he has at last done his duty, perhaps thrown some light into the obscurity, and thus given the most necessary hints for proceeding with a cautious firm step and offering a helping hand to human weakness. Ooh. There we go. Yeah, so whoever wrote this book was definitely like on the same wavelength we were on. We just wanted to help other people. We knew that that magic was math. It was all numbers. Magnetism, forces, math. Like they knew that it was something other. Like we were perceiving it as this thing, but it was actually this. So we wouldn't understand it because we couldn't see it, and so that's what I've gathered. This person has definitely seen what we were talking about earlier and have tried to tell us in a book. And I was telling you the other day, an artist, if they have a message to convey to you, they will write an entire book just to hide one sentence in it. We make no pretense to being considered as an infallible teacher of science and philosophy. He addresses his revealments to the intuition and reason of the human soul. Hence, whatever he communicates to mankind must live upon its own intrinsic merits, upon its own indwelling vitality, and not because he has spoken or written it. So basically about the back end code, just because you speak it or whatever into existence, when you find new information, you have to update it. So I'll read that again. Hence, whatever he communicates to mankind must live upon its own intrinsic merits, upon its own indwelling vitality, like its own life. Like the words have to give life to itself, like they have to exist and further live on. Upon its own indwelling vitality, and not because he has spoken or written it. So basically it being spoken to you, it's living through you, and it has life because it's been perceived by life. So did Australia inhabitants censor it? I am in Australia and got them last night. Some are in individual pictures. This one is not. Well, basically this one is, but it's a PDF. It's a PDF of a bunch of scans, not pictures, it's scans. It's like a scan of the book. Someone placed the book on a scanner and scanned the real $9,000 book. Every single thing to go through, like it's a real book, because when you go here you can see it's like you're opening the page and actually reading out of the book. It's nice. It's not reading off a screen, you know. Yep, 113 pages. It's actually 226 because it's two on each page because it takes a picture, a screen, and here I'll show you. It's like this. This is what the book looks like. It looks like this. You go through, it's like really scanned in, and so where they're seeing the pages is like this, but it's actually it's a PDF. It's a PDF, but yeah. And I was only reading the introduction. We haven't even gotten to chapter 1. So this is where we're at. So we got through, we started here. And this is when you open the book, this is him. Here is Ancient Magic, Magnetism, and Psychic Forces, the Key to Power. That's that brown book he had. This is the brown book. You can see the edges of the book. All right. Yeah, and they have really cool illustrations all in here. And I go through, there's no split pages. I just went through all 113. There's nothing split. It's all evenly down. Don't listen to them. Download it. Read it. Yeah, they're good. But yeah, and it's actually scanned and it looks really freaking nice and it's in order. It's neat. So yeah. Hard work for free. Here you go. Anyway, so I ended there with the about how whatever he communicates to mankind must live upon its own intrinsic merits, upon its own indwelling vitality, and not because he has spoken or written it. The author is impressed to devote his life and interior powers to the promotion of human progression, happiness, and spiritual illumination. To obtain means and principles adequate to the accomplishment of these ends, he is impressed to search as far as his abilities will merit the natural, spiritual, and celestial departments of God's universal temple, and to reveal and suggest that proper application of such general truths as man's physical and spiritual organization requires in this, his rudimental state of existence. You're very welcome. You guys are very welcome. Thank you for being here. Will you share the screen? And will someone put reading Joe Felz books? And I'll pin the comment. And so people, can you like tap this thing and repost all this stuff? Yeah, like Lori did. Lori reposted. Thank you. You guys, thank you so much. And tap the screen. Yeah. So magnetism is capable of developing the inherent bright nature of man in its various parts, powers, and relations. It's why astrology is it's such a real well-supported science, and the CIA has confirmed this in 2018 that astrology is well supported because of magnetism. Every mineral, stone, and wood originates. Its base molecules originate from somewhere else. All these molecules on this planet didn't originate here. They crashed into here from, different collisions. And so other parts of the world where the collisions happen of other elements, you'll have more elements there. That's why it matters where you're born, because it's where it's what you're made of in that area. One of the most important parts of this book is that magnetism is capable of developing the inherent bright nature of man in its various parts, powers, and relations, which can express itself in many ways and in different degrees. The power of magnetism lies in everyone, but there must exist the power combined with the wisdom to apply it. That's what you need. You need to apply it. That's like the error code that when you try to do telekinesis and move this, you execute the command, but there's an error code. That's why it's not moving. And so I'll read this again. Magnetism is capable of developing the inherent bright nature of man in its various parts, powers, and relations, which can then express itself in many ways, in different degrees. The power of magnetism lies in everyone, but there must exist a power combined with the wisdom to apply it. So you need to understand mathematics and numbers to be able to apply it. So because math is the building blocks to everything, including magnetism. Magnetism couldn't exist without math. Nothing. One of the important parts of this book is that wherein the author seeks to make plain the momentous part that magnetism plays in social life and the wonderful power for good or ill that may follow from a knowledge of oneself and the development of this power within them, or on the other hand, remaining in ignorance of that which is of vital port in every phase of life in the rightful heritage of each one. How many unhappy homes could be made bright, joyful, and strength-giving? How many lonely, desolate hearts might be brought up into a serene hopefulness and happiness, into a confident sense of power, which could lead them into a realization of all they can desire, and to that perfect satisfaction in all that life accords, which is man's true growth and destiny. So that is the God code. That's creating divinity within yourself, removing all the negativity, doing what's right, and feeling that love and bliss. You can do that here. As people say when they die and they feel like God, they feel this love and bliss. It's explaining to you here, that's within yourself. That's what Jesus said. The temple is within you. So little in reality stands in the way of one's accomplishing that which they desire. So little in reality changes the life current from that which has brought one into any undesirable condition, so that which certainly and according to fixed laws will lead one to peace, happiness, health, strength, and prosperity, that it is a sin for anyone who cannot to avail themselves of this knowledge and the power which it gives, and understanding of which can be no more than hinted at in a work of this size. So it is a sin for anyone who cannot avail themselves of this knowledge and the power. So basically, if you don't make yourself aware of this knowledge, if you don't make it available to yourself, it is a sin in itself to not be aware of this, to not even try to seek this type of enlightenment. I'll read it again. I'll read that sentence again so we don't get it misconstrued. So little in reality stands in the way of one's accomplishing that which they desire. So little in reality changes the life current from that which has brought one into any undesirable condition to that which certainly and according to fixed laws will lead one to peace. So you can be in an undesirable condition, but you can also lead yourself to peace, happiness, health, strength, and prosperity. It is a sin for anyone who cannot avail themselves of this knowledge and the power which it gives, an understanding of which can be no more than hinted at in a work of this size. So it's like I said, artists will hint it in their thing. So he's hinting it in a work of this size. They put in hidden messages so you can understand, and so other people can decode it for you. The author wishes also to indicate the close relationship existing between the miracles and magic of ancient and medieval times with the hypnotic and psychic phenomena of the present day, and its momentous and vital relation to the everyday affairs of life in the home and society and the business world. So yes, the author, so I'll read it again. The author wishes also to indicate the close relationship existing between the miracles and magic of ancient and medieval times. There's a close relationship with the past and with the hypnotic psychic phenomena of the present day. Hypnotic psychic phenomena, that means the brainwash of the present day, and its momentous and vital relation to the everyday affairs of the life in the home and society and the business world, the deep rooting of the cult of society. It even says the word society. Affairs in the home and society and the business world. The reader will not, which home, society, and business world is all the same right now. They've made the home part of society. The business world is part of society. It's all the same thing. So that actually, I feel like that even the person gets confused as they were writing this information down, or they're hiding the information to where it can be perceived by everybody. The reader will not find industry and a certain circumspection wanting. They just confirmed it. The reader will not find industry in a certain circumspection wanting. By patient devotion, much has been done, as much at least as one individual has been able to accomplish. An ample library was necessary for the completion of the work. An ample library. We helped you create a big one. An ample library was necessary for the completion of the work, together with years of research and aid of friends, and without the rich treasures of the public library of this place. Why is my phone falling as I'm talking about this shit? Like, damn. And so this is what we're doing. This is what we're already doing. An ample library was necessary for the completion of the work. Together, this is the book he was trying to show us. It's like everything was connected, and there's all hidden messages in this shit. An ample library was necessary for the completion of the work, together with years of research and aid of friends, and without the rich treasures of the public library of this place and the gratefully acknowledged readiness of its superintendents, it could never have appeared in this extended form. That right there is confirming that what we're doing right now in present time is correct. Isn't that crazy? I've never read this book. I just got this book through you guys, through the aid of friends. I've already been saying all this stuff, but we've all tapped into this. The person who wrote this book tapped into everything I was talking about. Yes, gratitude. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for allowing us to experience this experience and how cool and actually amazing this experience is. This is like one of the best experiences in this 3D manifestation I've had. It won't let you go to the website. Can you try a different browser? Try a different browser. Try DuckDuckGo. Try Edge, Microsoft Edge. I can access it through Edge just fine and download it. It's rapid, so fast. This goes very in tandem with the Bible. It's basically. This is wild. This is wild. Firefox, try that. Did it work for you guys that way? Gosh, this is so. Wow. Okay. It's an amazing experience because I've never read like books like this. Like I've never like had the desire to really read before, but I've always just known things naturally, and like I've already expressed a lot of this stuff. So it's wild reading it back to myself that someone 130 years ago wrote this down on a book. The exact same stuff I'm talking about right now. The vision of science penetrated many fields of physical knowledge before it could lift the veil of the soul and survey the secret mechanism of mind and life. Let's read that again. The vision of science penetrated many fields of physical knowledge before it could lift the veil of the soul and survey the secret mechanism of mind and life. Yet here alone it found the laws of universal happiness. Here were the subtle forces which had moved man through the long possession of historic ages. And here were the mighty causes of which must determine the future course and destiny of nations. The radiant paths of wisdom from every ancient and modern field of study all center in this temple of life. All, like we were just saying, like this temple of life, the temple is within and around you, like Jesus said. And this is saying the radiant paths of wisdom from every ancient and modern field of study, mathematics, the universal's basically hosted IP internet protocol. Wow. The radiant paths of wisdom from every ancient and modern field of study, mathematics, all center in this temple of life. Jesus said the temple is within you and around you, not from someone else. You don't have to find a leader to take solitude in. It's within you to access the temple and this magic, magnetism, higher power, the God code. It's within you. Man is himself the noblest subject of study, as well as the most worthy of all students of nature. They solve all the great problems which concern the present happiness and the future destiny of man, and they bring all this within the range of such scientific proof and can be understood alike by all persons. As I said before, I'm a problem solver, so here it goes. They said this. The human man himself is the noblest subject of study as well as the most worthy of all students of nature. They solve all the great problems which concern the present happiness and the future destiny of man, and they bring all this within the range of such scientific proof and as can be understood alike by all persons. So we're all problem solvers, and just some people just need to look at the problems, and then instead of just not solving them, they need to solve them to make them better. If there's resistance against making it better, there's another problem. All through the historic ages and among all civilized nations, that's the hidden message there. It's not telling you that, but that's the hidden message. So obviously there's something wrong here. If we're the problem solvers and there's people creating the problems, so there's also problems, the sins, the demons that are taking over of this. That there's a hidden message there, because it says they solve all the world's greatest problems which concern the present happiness and future destiny of man, but there's also the powers that be doing the opposite of that. All through the historic ages and among all civilized nations, we may find fragments of the truth which are united under the light of these laws into one clear system of life. The science of man opens the gate of paradise. It can alone make us read aright the lessons of past experience. Again, the science of man opens the gate of paradise. Mathematics is the building blocks of all science. It's code. The science of man opens the gate of paradise, heaven. The science of man opens the gate of paradise. Mathematics, through men, opens the gate of paradise. There's your decoded message. It can alone make us read aright the lessons of past experience. It can alone make us read aright the lessons of past experience. Learn from your mistakes. So the science, the mathematics that opens the gate of paradise, it can alone make us read right lessons of past experience. And so that mathematics, you're learning from your mistakes is part of you correcting your code. It can alone make us read or write the lessons of past experience. You can learn from your mistakes. You correct your code, and you can update yourself, so you remove sin from yourself. It can alone interpret the magnificent visions of our future destiny. It can alone interpret the magnificent visions of our future destiny. So mathematics, working backwards, understanding numbers, that's how you're able to understand the future. It's because it's not, so you've been trained to think like, oh, to look at something, and no, you're supposed to look at all the math around you and predict, use that to come up with what you don't know about the future. And that's how you're able to predict the future. That's how. So, are we all here? Have we been lost? Are we all still on the same page? Divine maths. Yes, ma'am. We're on the same page. What do you guys think so far? Listening. Okay. Science, mathematics, building blocks to all science is mathematics. So when it says science, always understand that numbers is science, hosts science. It's math. Math and science got misconstrued somehow when they were teaching it to us. Mathematics, it says science. Science here lifts us from the feebleness of faith to the high power of certain knowledge. So mathematics lifts us from the feebleness of faith to the higher power of certain knowledge. So it gives you, instead of you just leaning into faith, you know through math and numbers, you just know, you can see, you just understand. What's understood doesn't need to be explained. So if you understand science, math, it lifts us from the feebleness of faith to the higher power of certain knowledge, because it just helps you. Anyway, I've already explained it. I don't want to overdo it. It allies itself with religion. It gives eyes to faith and wings to art. So there's something here, because anyone that knows this knows that religion and science do not correlate. So this is probably part of like a hidden message to anyone that was supposed to read it. That wasn't supposed to get the message. This is to throw them off. Saying that science allies itself with religion. Actually, religion itself was used to separate itself from science when it actually is science. They just changed it. So just know that. So it gives eyes to faith and wings to art. It gives you eyes to faith and wings to art. So the freedom to create and the visibility to see instead of just have to rely on what you don't know. It embodies and immortalizes all that is precious of the past and inspirations and attainments. The most direct power of the truths stated in this book is found in the fact that they precisely and clearly explain the phenomena of our inner and outer life. We have spoken largely of things occult and have given a few rules for the information of the wise. As I'm locking down the site, I'm creating rules because there's certain things that just, I'm sure this person explains. We have spoken largely of things occult and have given a few rules for the information of the wise, some few most secret things being reserved by the author for his pupils only. That's what I'm doing with the 400,000 books that I stopped it because of what's going on TikTok. These people are trying to, I see the benefit of doing that. This book forms a complete magical biography, being collected from most ancient authors and worthily used for the knowledge he obtains from his labors. Therefore, my good friend that desires to accomplish these things, be persuaded first to apply thyself to understanding and then seeking knowledge with diligence, and thou shalt never regret having taken so good a resolution, but will enjoy a secret happiness and sincerity of mind which the world can never rob you of. Wishing you every success imaginable in your studies and experiences, hoping that you will use the benefits that you receive to the honor of our Creator and to the profit of your neighbor. Remember our instructions to be silent, talk only with those worthy of communication. Do not give pearls to swine. Be friendly with all, but not familiar with all. For many, okay, that's the problem with me, but not familiar with all. For many are, as the scriptures mention, wolves in sheep's clothing. That was Leah. I hate to say it. Leah, that was up here yesterday. I hate to say that, but she just kind of went and was like, separate myself from the community. It was just like, sincerely yours, L.H. Anderson. That was the introduction. So table of contents, we have the phenomena of magic. That's chapter 1. Chapter 2, magic black and white. Chapter 3, demons, visions, and the true magic. Chapter 4, secrets of the Egyptian magic. Oh, wow. Chapter 5, hypnotism and the law of attraction. Chapter 6, hypnotism and the key to occultism. That's what they use for society. So chapter 7, modern spiritualism. Chapter 8, power of the human will. Chapter 9, magnetic soul force. And chapter 10, magnetized persons not responsible. Magnetized persons not responsible. That means so the divine. So even in that 4-word message, magnetized persons not responsible. I love the name of that chapter. It's like saying that like you're saved, basically. You're saved and through yourself. You saved yourself and you're not responsible for what's to happen here. That's just what I get from that. How mind strengthens body is chapter 11. Chapter 12, the origin of force. Chapter 13, vital magnetic force. Chapter 14, magnetism, the medium of mental inspiration, and chapter 15, different kinds of magnetism. Oh, and there's chapter 16, laws governing magnetism, and chapter 17, it's going to be the element of life, and that's the last of it. So yeah, let me go to the restroom. No, I was actually going through and I wanted to see what the chapters were. And I also am stopping and I'm helping decode and help people interpret the messages, because a lot of them are hidden, and I can tell by what I've been talking about how I would absolutely hide them the same way, because that's what I was saying. Someone would write an entire book to hide one sentence in there that needed to be, you know. Hey Pat, why are you so obsessed? Why are you so obsessed with being here and watching? Obviously, you've heard everything I just said, and you are still a satanic bot, willing to just fight and try to be toxic. I hope that you can find it within yourself to find the temple that we were just trying to read out to you. But it did say that most, people are going to interpret it differently from others. So take it how you will. I gotta use the restroom. I'll be right back, you guys. You're so mad. I don't know why you're so mad. I hope you can find it within yourself to be not so upset with what I'm doing. If you don't like what I'm doing, you don't have to watch. You're choosing to be here. You're choosing to watch. So thank you for being here. So yes, I'm gonna keep reading. Be careful. Absolutely. Here's me being careful. Phenomena of magnetism. The phenomena of magnetism are acknowledged to be of great importance to anthropology and natural philosophy, and even to moral philosophy. They are becoming so to history, and even so as the reader will perceive, partly so in the mystical olden time. By far, the greater part of mankind lives on imagination, not only the less instructed natural men of feeling, but even in those who boast of knowledge and a higher mental cultivation. So there's a lot of people who will boast about how they're, that they're a genius. I'm telling you, I'm not a genius. I just discovered a tool. I just realized, oh wow, you can use this to understand the workings of the universe. And so I'm just sharing that tool. It's not that anybody's better or knows more or is like, more is like smarter. It's just like raising your intelligence. You can raise your intelligence on your own. You just have to, you have to do it. How few in their feelings and sufferings and their doings and aspirings raise themselves in the sea of life above the world of imagination. So it's saying how few, meaning there's few, in their feelings and sufferings, like the person in the comments, APAC, their doings and aspirings, they raise themselves in the sea of life above the world of imagination. So, few in their feelings and their sufferings do this. Few. Some of them don't aspire and they don't raise themselves in the sea of life above the world of imagination. You sit there and you worry about things that don't matter. That's just that's the entertainment of your imagination. and the literary hero of romance. Among the scenes of the stage, there is no more original thought than in the preserving churchgoer. So it's saying that the original churchgoer, there is no original thought in the preserving churchgoers, because of course you don't think for yourself, you listen to what someone tells you to think. Of course, that makes absolute sense. The great mass wishes to be devout and thinks that the glorification of God's name lies in miracles rather than natural action. And that's what I've been saying. It's not that Jesus said he was going to save you. He didn't say that. Jesus didn't die, come back and said, I died for you. He didn't say that. So he said the temple is within you. And this sentence says the great mass wishes to be devout and thinks, the great mass, most people, wishes to be devout and thinks that glorification of God's name lies in miracles by saying great things about God that lies in miracles rather than natural action and working on the work yourself. Dignity, riches, and power are only too much the springs of even great and eminent minds. Thus, mysterious feelings always lead man like the dreamer and somnambulist. Okay. Thus, mysterious feelings always lead man like the dreamer and somnambulist through the world rather than the clear conscious of open daylight. And as the dreamer is only struck by the momentary liveliness of the appearance. That's what I was saying. The 3D, your physical manifested experience, that what we're having on the user end experience. The dreamer is only struck by the momentary liveliness of the appearance. So the person who, when I'm doing something, like when people, interact in a negative way, the dreamers, they're struck by the momentary liveliness of the appearance. However, in this case, that's not the example. That's the opposite of the example of the sentence that's being stated here. So dreamers are only struck by momentary liveliness of the appearance, undisturbed by its causes or effects, so mankind knows no more of the dreams of the first period of its childhood. But now, magnetism gives us information about the existence and action of the life of dreams and the power of creation, and in general about the sports and whims of fancy. It is also the best means of breaking the seal which closes the mysterious of antiquity, which rich in fancy, whilst it discloses the similarity of depth of man's capacity, and shows an accordance of phenomena which formerly in magic was attributed to enchantment and to deceit, or to those supernatural wonders for which an external religion and an inherited faith found not in their catechism. So magic was formerly attributed to enchantment and it's attributed to deceit. So it was thought of, people used it. So I guess that's why they persecuted witches and stuff like that. And fine magnetism is able to give the meaning of the symbolic enigmas of ancient mysteries, which were considered quite insoluble, or which appeared matter for the most varied explanations. In the same manner, the manifold declarations of ecstatic seers and mystic philosophers. I just scrolled down. Let me start over. In the same manner, the manifold declarations of ecstatic seers and mystic philosophers, which are treasured upon the persons initiated into the mysteries, will now become more intelligible by means of magnetism. So basically, people like Jesus or Joe or whatever, they're treasured because the person they initiated into the mystery. So they're like mystic philosophers to the masses. So the seers who see them, they will now become who listen to what they're saying. The people, the seers, the actual who see, will now become more intelligible by means of magnetism. So it takes somebody, it takes like one of these people to explain it to other people and for them to actually understand it, and they will become more intelligible by means of magnetism. And I was just saying this a minute ago, more intelligible. You can raise your intelligence. You will become more intelligible by means of magnetism. The reader who is inclined may convince himself of this if he will follow the author on the field of magic whilst he collects and compares the testimony and monuments of all ages. If he has not succeeded in exhausting everything and completely clearing away all darkness, bridges, and windows will appear to lead us to new views, which time and the constantly increasing dexterity of magnetism will enlighten more and more. And thus, after a real search and according in the command of Olympiodorus, we shall at last attain to a knowledge of heavenly things. So yeah, it's another way of saying you need to clear all the errors, the sins out of yourself so that you can attain knowledge of heavenly things. Interesting. Because I definitely have not. I don't think I've cleared all darkness. I don't know. Men are astonished. Maybe I don't know. I definitely have given my will away. Men are astonished at the unusual appearances of signs which they do not comprehend, such as hieroglyphics, right? But does such astonishment always imply a real miracle, right? When you make a discovery and you discover something like the hieroglyphics, does it actually imply a real miracle? Or, could it just be someone that just left something behind, like a Subway sandwich wrapper that just, you didn't know what it was? Most men have the miracle in their minds and worship it because it enveloped in a sacred obscurity. So like Jesus' death, the death of Jesus, right? They thought, oh, we have to follow him because he was telling us, and then they took him away from us, and we didn't all understand. Well, that's why they were trying to make you not all understand, but you misunderstood it and made a religion and and yeah. So most men have the miracle in their minds and worship it because it enveloped in a sacred obscurity. They only admire nature because they are in an opinion that she is an inexplicable enchantment, whilst they set a small value on what they consider intelligible. On the other hand, there are even philosophers who admit of no miracle and who pass their lives in believing nothing, not even believing what they see, especially if they do not understand it. The most wonderful point about this is that their own brain is not a miracle to them. And nature, as well as in the mind, that's right, it's not a miracle. It's not a miracle. It's like saying, like what I've been telling you, it's not a miracle. We're not better. We're not anything. It's not that we have like abilities that you don't have. You can do the exact same thing. The most wonderful point about that is that their own brain is not a miracle to them. In nature, as well as in the mind, regular phenomena occur which are looked upon as wonders only on account of the rarity, because it is known how they come about. The best thing that he said of miracles is the answer given by Christ to Nicodemus. So the person mistyped here. The best thing that he said of miracles is the answer given by Christ to Nicodemus. That was mistyped. That was like that doesn't make sense. The best thing that he said. Okay. That which he is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the spirit is spirit. The wind bloweth where it listeth, and thou hearest and sound thereof, but canst not tell whence it cometh, nor whither it goeth. It is certainly very difficult always to decide what are natural and what are directly divine operations, and thus one can understand that most persons unacquainted with the laws of nature can call everything a miracle which they can not measure by their own standard. Because they're not using math. They weren't taught math they were taught math to be hard with 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not like that. On the other hand, miracles often consist of reports magnified by lies and propagated by superstition. Thus, it happens that even by the more educated, certain uncommon phenomena are ignored and even denied. The intensity and vastness of the human mind are not fathomed by the most faithful observations of psychologists. And these psychological wonders are so frequently enough ascribed to the gods. The mind of man is simple in character, like the spirit of God and of nature, but manifold are its powers and action. The unusually developed powers of the mind do not certainly admit of being so exactly defined in their source and tendency as the case with the elementary powers of nature, with magnetism and electricity, yet the strength of the mind is on the account no less certain as is proved by the power of the word, when one can neither weigh nor measure it. Now there are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit. And there are diversities of operations, but the same God, which worketh in all. But the man, so it's like the codes with the languages that there's many different languages. Like we've created English, we've created like a numerical, an alphanumerical code system. We've created numbers. So there's different languages, and then God, um, and there are diversities of operations like languages that plug into each other so everything works as a code. But the same God which worketh all in all, the admin. He does everything. He works everything all in all. He plugs everything in. But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal. I start from personal observation, wander about on the vital and productive field of nature, seek everywhere the analogies and relations of phenomena and the laws which govern them, descend them as well and as far as I can into the deepest, darkest pits of history, place them in rows side by side for inspection in order to make prominent the character of the harmony or contrast according to its principle. The most active principle, however, of these magic phenomena I have found mostly in anthropological ground, where nature and the action of fancy produce the wonders which transport the supernaturalist completely in the transcendental and supernatural, but the nationalist absolutely denies if he does not understand them. So I'm going to take a quick reading break, just 1 second. So where are we at? Isn't this book like wild? Thank you. I muted them so you guys don't have to deal with those, you know. Exactly. There you go. Everything is made in his image. Well, in his image, that's because he can manifest as everything. He can manifest as anything. As anything. Anywhere, anything at any time. So yes, you are correct. I sorry you guys. I wanted to give grace to that person because I could see they're making content. They're commenting a lot on the videos about us and spreading a lot of disinformation. And you have to, at some point, plant a seed. It's not going to bear fruit right away. When you plant a seed, you have to water it. You have to let it grow. It takes time. Same thing. You have to plant a seed in a way with these people. That's what Jesus was doing. That's what Joe is doing. And I don't even know if maybe Joe realized it. Maybe he did because he knew what he was doing. He was spreading a message. So he was planting seeds, and he was probably very aware of the work he was very intentional on planting the seeds. Is what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure of. I'm pretty sure of. You know, at first I didn't really think too much about it, but I'm pretty sure it was all very intentional because he was trying to raise awareness. He was trying to share information, right? Can you get a PayPal or something? The beast gets this. What's the beast? Did you know that homosexuality is a sin? Did you know that you're not supposed to keep tabs of other people's wrongdoings? Jesus told us, do not look at the speck in your neighbor's eye, for there's a log in yours. So that means you should only worry about yourself. You have things that are wrong with you, and you're not calling those out. You know there's things wrong with you. You're a sinner, but you're not going to willfully admit what's wrong with you. So you should probably work on that. And what's crazy also about that, here's more scripture from the book of Matthew. Do not judge lest you want to be judged. And when you're judged, it's going to be by the divine. So, careful. I just wanted you to know to not worry about other people's sins. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't worry about other people's sins. The thing that, like, with what's happening to Joe, there's still no truth. There's no truth to be spoken about Joe. So I hope nobody misinterprets about with what we're asking of his girlfriend, just to respond with the truth. That is not judging. We don't know what's done, so there's nothing to be judged. We're just asking what happened. So that, I hope that doesn't lead people into like judging others. We don't know what happened. You need to know what happened, but you don't need to judge it. You know, that's why it says it's a sin not to give yourself the knowledge. Like, the knowledge is there. If you don't absorb the knowledge willfully, then that's kind of on you. Jesus came here, gave you the message, and said the temple is within you. And if you can't find that within yourself and you're seeking it through a leader, you're not going to find it. And that's what's really amazing about all this. I'm very protected. I know there's huge energies protecting me. And so I have no fear to keep going. Like, there's nothing threatening me, not the government, not nothing. It's only the TikTokers. It's just TikTokers. Just TikTokers. Like, I haven't had a knock on my door. They know where I live. They know where I live. I've had a knock on my door about no, well-being check, nothing. I'm good. I'm good. Nothing's tried to stop me that can. Thank you. It's probably adding. Well, you don't necessarily need to pray for me. You just shouldn't pray for anything like that. Like, you can't. If you're gonna pray for me, you should never reveal that you've prayed for me. You're supposed to go tell that to your Father in secret. Your Father will know what you need in secret. And Jesus explains this in the book of Matthew as well. He tells us how to pray. And you go to your room by yourself on your knees. You shut the door away from everybody, and you talk to him in private. And you say, "Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Forgive us this day our daily bread." Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil forever and ever. Amen. And that's all you say to him. That's all you say. And he already knows what you need. For your Father knows what you need before you ever ask. And that is what Jesus said. And he said, you do not Babylon, especially when speaking to your Father like the Gentiles do. You don't go to the church and you have the synagogues, like mass pray for everybody. That's what Jesus also said. You don't go pray in front of people. You don't use God as as a social catalyst to make yourself in a higher hierarchy in a group of people. You should just use Jesus or talk to God and how you're supposed to connect to God, not use it as like a social status hierarchy to up yourself. I don't know how you couldn't. Who's the prince of here? That, there's no reason. If you didn't believe in the fallen angels, that's like the book was just telling you, it's a sin to not give yourself that information. Right, Mama? You just, for me, what's understood doesn't need to be explained, but I have to explain it for those who don't understand. You're right. Not everyone knows. Does anyone want to come up? What do you think about the first introduction in the first part of the first chapter? That was already a lot of a huge informative truth dump. It's like a whole bunch of 15-second truth bombs just dumped after another, one after another. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it also says, be friendly to all, but you can't be familiar to all, because you must remember that there are still wolves in sheep's clothing. Oh, no, you were fine. You were fine. I forget. I forget. Oh, absolutely. We'll have hopefully we'll have more people who want to join later tonight when everybody's off work. I really wish Leah didn't feel like the resistance of what we went live for. If you just don't feel like, you know, I feel like I have multiple tasks, multiple missions. There's the organizing people, and then like helping figure out what happened. You know, you know, and so I have to wear many hats, and it's a little confusing to people, I'm sure. So it just sucks, and I'm pretty sure I probably confused the hell out of Leah, but she went ahead and started spreading messages and comments about us, and I couldn't believe that after all what we went through yesterday, that would be the type of person to go. But that's why the book says you can't be familiar. You gotta be careful about when you're getting familiar with people, because it's wolves in sheep's clothing. And you also have to look, because I also noticed she was being very vain yesterday on camera. And I know, I'm not judging, but I noticed, but I didn't judge. And I'm not saying, that she's wrong in being that way. I noticed, but I didn't think that was a red flag, because we all have something wrong with us. So, but, she never went live before until doing this. And now she's, hosting our lives about us trying to... I don't know. I really don't even know. But why would you not be a part and join our community where the lives and the people are watching? I host it so we can all talk, you know? It sucks. This is time for myself. I've had a lot. See, I'm healthy now. I took lots of time for myself. But that's the thing. If you take time for yourself and you live in comfort, you're not going to get anywhere. And so that's part of the ancient teachings of society has taught you to be comfortable, to sit on a couch and like I am right now, but at least I'm still able to spread a message and do work while I'm, it's not all, I can't just be selfish and be like, oh, me time, when other people need my time. I've kind of offered myself to the public. I can't just be like, oh, not available. Unfortunately, I love that you guys are concerned and stuff, but I'm okay. If I wasn't, I would start telling you, and like I was the other night when I was just up for so long. Yes, everything works out. Can you guys tap the screen? Oh wow! Never mind. You did tap the screen. I'll shut up. Y'all tapped the hell out the motherfucking screen. I'm sorry. Then can y'all, instead of tapping like crazy, can you do 2 taps? Can you tap this thing and then the repost button, and then repost it, and then thank you. And I will get back to reading. I did. I took a rest just now. And I took a rest earlier. I was off live for a couple hours, and then I told everybody I'd be off for 20 minutes. I took a couple hours, and then I said, let's go now and start reading some books, because I don't want to make promises and not fulfill them. You know what I'm saying? Thank you. Look at all the reposts. You the best people. Thank you. All right, so here we go. The phenomena which are included under the name of magnetism present so many points of interest that they have late years attracted universal attention. Not only are learned men engaged in endeavoring to understand all that is problematic in them, according to their comprehensiveness and worth, and to find the proper point of view from which they are to be regarded, but even the popular mind is attracted towards them in the expectation of deriving either instruction or amusement from their mysteries. Magnetism possesses properties which are not only practical, useful as regards health in the relations of life. Okay, I'm gonna reword this, because Magnetism possesses properties which are not only practically useful as it regards to health and the relations of life, but also in respect to the highest interests of mankind. I had to add a couple of words in there because they missed a linking verb in there. We have in the foregoing pages briefly looked at magnetism and its relations to other phenomena of life, and as connected with the sciences and throughout its historical career, so that sound deductions may be drawn. The reader who has accompanied us thus far will have been placed at a point of view from whence he may discover that many wonderful stories can be explained and connected most naturally with well-known facts. Like this book and what we've been talking about all this time. That's crazy. Isn't it nice that like all the work that we've talked about, we could just go back and read it back to ourselves and it's saying, yep, this is what you're supposed to do. And we've been doing that, especially where it's talking about how we create a library with the aid of friends. Like that was that chef's kiss. Okay. We have in the foregoing pages briefly looked at the magnetism relations from love to science throughout. The reader who has accompanied us thus far will have been placed at a point of view from whence he may discover that many wonderful stories can be explained and connected most naturally. So basically, if you've understood everything that's been read, you can understand that everything can connect through other people who have understood what doesn't need to be explained to each of them. So he will have been enabled to form an unfettered judgment, your discernment, regarding circumstances with superstition has defied skepticism, rejected as folly, or blind belief accepted as miracles. Lastly, having compared together historical facts, it is possible that he may have discovered traces of a more extended universe than that of the senses or of worldly experience, and that in human nature lies the germs of powers which are occasionally met with in this earthly home, but which so far have never been perfectly developed except in the man Jesus Christ, the one who is able to edit code, the one who is able to make perfect codes to execute the powers. That in human nature lies the germs of powers which are occasionally met with its earthly home, but which so far have never been perfectly developed except in the man Jesus Christ. By animal magnetism, we understand those peculiar physical and psychological phenomena which are produced in others principally for the cure of diseases by a conscious mechanical influence. The mutual impression produced by living beings upon each other is merely a modified universal law of mutual impression which has been designated natural magnetism. For this reason, Mesmer, its discoverer, called the artificial manner of producing it by analogous, oh my god, I can't even pronounce it. Analogous, there we go. Reason. I don't know why that was so hard. By analogous reasoning and magnetism. By these means, we discover in animal magnetism a new medical science, or the art of healing and prevention of disease, not through a substance, but by a power, a movement which, like sound in the air, light in the ether, appears to be endowed with a surpassing mobility. It is called animal magnetism because the animal part of man is the medium. The conducting body of the penetrating magnetism is more particularly active in that particular which It is the animal magnetism because the animal part of the man is the medium, the conducting body of this penetrating magnetism, and is more particularly active in the particular which distinguishes our animal senses and the higher faculties of man. Jesus, my speech impediment sucks. I'm sorry. So, it is called animal magnetism because the animal part of man is medium. So it's like the animal part, the more natural part, the natural part of you, what grounds you to nature is the medium. So your natural self. So if you can't connect to your natural self, why society does do that to you. You don't connect to your natural self anymore, not at birth. Yep. Sorry, I'm like, magnetism has also been called life magnetism. So no, that's not the animal part of your body. So the animal part of man doesn't mean you have to have an animal to have an animal part of you. You don't need to own an animal to be able to have the animal, the natural order inside of yourself. Um, a dog, a cat isn't even in their natural form. They're domesticated. They don't have their natural instincts. If you were to let it outside, your dog and cat wouldn't survive. So I just want to clarify that in a very nice way. Some things can get misconstrued. And I totally understand how that happens. But we want to make sure everybody stays on the same page, because if you get blocked and you learn something incorrectly, you're not going to actually reach what you need to understand. Magnetism has also been called life magnetism on account of its universal influence on human beings. And magnetism has also been called life magnetism on account of its universal influence on human beings, and mesmerism from its the way it came off the page, and mesmerism from its discoverer, which is perhaps the best designation for this new curative system founded on his theories. Again, I'll say this one more time because I screwed it up and I'm sorry. Magnetism has also been called life magnetism on account of its universal influence on human beings, and mesmerism from its discoverer, which is perhaps the best designation for his new curative system founded on his theories. Kluge and others call it animal magnetism in contradiction to universal vegetable and mineral magnetism. The word magnetism in itself says too little and is too indefinite. Universal magnetism says too much, and Tellurism is merely an individual idea adopted by Kaiser. Just as the properties of the magnet may be, I was just thinking of this in my mind, just the properties of the magnet may be certain processes be called into action in iron and steel. I was literally just about to explain this before I read the sentence, but I'm glad I kept reading before I just over explain, because it just explains it. Just as properties of the magnet may be certain processes be called into action in iron and steel and be so strengthened that they are able to present a true magnet, so I have discovered the means of strengthening an actual magnetism of an individual being to such a degree that phenomena are produced which are analogous to those of the magnet. Just as natural heat may be raised by certain processes so far that the fire is consequent, so is natural magnetism a description of invisible fire, which by a continued series of movements is enabled to impart itself in an immeasurable degree to other animate or inanimate bodies. And this fire, in relation to its application as a curative agent, is that which I call animal or personal magnetism, which is all will be seen, may become an immediate remedy may strengthen the activity of the muscular fiber, regulate the functions depending on it, and by such means infuse harmony in the internal parts and members of the human body. The mesmeric influence of magnetism for curative purposes is either directed upon the whole body or upon individual portions alone. For this purpose, man is provided by nature with a remarkable and perfectly adapted conductor, the hand. So this is your conductor. The magnetic influence by the hands extends even to the animals and plants, which thereby acquire a peculiar state. And even in inorganic substances may be influenced by magnetism, in that in certain circumstances they may be used as conductors. The act of magnetizing the magnetic process takes place either by personal contact or by the means of conductors. Personal magnetic influence operates through the proximity of the operator to the patient, through the hands, by the eyes, and by the words and other natural means. Magnetizing by the hands is the most usual method for the hands and are the true organs of the will. They are the instrument of which the will is palpably exhibited. The hands give the direction of activity to the will, and as the body is the visible material reflection of the soul, the visible material reflection of the soul, as I was saying, it's the material 3D manifestation of the back-end server where your soul is stored. So we're saying the same thing. So are the hands the physiognomic expression of the activity of the will and the character. So your hands are basically why you see wizards or whatever depicted as using their hands as their will of magnetizing or magic or whatever you will. The thing was, Jesus gave in. Jesus gave in. He was like, okay, I understand how to do everything here. I gave it all to them. This is just, I'm leaving now. Let y'all do what y'all will, and just gave in, because that was part of the ritual. He had to give in to the people that were persecuting him so they could see that he was of pure will. Magnetizing by the eyes and gazing upon the patient is usually very powerful, and when it is done continuously and with intention. Animals cannot support the glance of the human eye, and it is not rare for a sick person to fall asleep by being merely looked at, particularly if accustomed to the magnetic treatment. I hope you will pay attention to the book. You're too worried about other things. You're not paying attention. These phenomena, words are the direct embodiment of the ideas of the soul and are used to act even physically to excite, restrain, invigorate, or lead. And that's probably why they say when you die, everything you say is replayed back to you by God, like all at once, because words matter. So even in magnetism, words matter because it also helps amplify the intent. It's an extension of the intent. It helps. So it's still a mathematical equation for everything to work. You can't, if it's to be all, it needs to come out of all of your senses. It needs to be what's inside your mind, your eyes, your mouth, your ears, and what you feel. These phenomena designedly. Oh yeah, I guess that is a word. These phenomena designedly produced by a magnetism which, however, arise naturally in many diseases and may also be produced by other means and influences are most easily classed as physical and physiological. Those which are most frequent are physical crises and less frequently psychological conditions. The former are not unusual in all magnetic patients. Let me read this again. These phenomena designedly produced by magnetism, which, however, arise naturally in many diseases and may also be produced by other means and influences, are most easily classed as physical and physiological. Those which are most frequent are physical crises. Crises, not is. So it's crises. These which are most frequent are physical crises, and less frequently psychological conditions. The former are not unusual in all magnetic patients. Among the psychological phenomena may be classed the waking up of the inner consciousness, which extraordinary activity of the outer senses, as for instance that dreamlike middle state between sleep and waking up called somnambulism, or the more rare, still higher state of the soul, which is known as the power of the seer, clairvoyance, ecstasy, etc. Happily, prejudices of all kinds are giving way before the power of knowledge and enlightenment, and magnetism has no longer strive against the spirit of the age. The physician who will not introduce magnetism into his own individual practice, yet no longer denies its reality. It is no longer an interdicted word in the writing of the philosopher and the psychologist. While many a theologian has taken up the subject zealously, now he can recognize some zealousy. Now he can recognize something beyond miracles and sorcery in it. So I'll explain that again. It is no longer an interdicted word in the writing of the philosopher and the psychologist. While many a theologian has taken up the subject zealously, now he can recognize something beyond miracles and sorcery in it. As the learned, if they are not altogether advocates of it, neither are they altogether opposed to it. Besides, the time is past when they were considered the infallible judges of all unknown mysteries and higher truths. So as the people who learned, if they're not altogether advocating for it, neither are they altogether opposed to it. So just because you're not advocating for it doesn't mean they're against it. Besides, the time is past when they were considered the infallible judges of all unknown mysteries and higher truths. The advancing spirit of the age, and in a special manner, the attention which is paid to the earnest study of the natural philosophy have given a new importance to the subject of magnetism. The field which formerly enwrapped so many mysteries and enigmas is falling off by degrees by means of irresistible and rapid discoveries of physics and chemistry, or organology and anthropology. This truer, more intimate knowledge of all the natural sciences has produced one of these general reforms in which the schools and the sects narrowed-souled private views, fancies, and prejudices are dispersed as shadows of night before ascending daylight of truth. That's what I was saying. It's like all these things in society, they just create these error codes. So it as it says, these general reforms in which the schools and the sects narrow-souled private views, fancies, and prejudices are dispersed as shadows of night before the ascending daylight of truth. And I'll stop right there for a moment and let everybody gather that. So this greater knowledge, it's saying this greater knowledge, this ancient knowledge is the reason for reform of the schools and the sectors, because it is to make it to where it would spread prejudices and block this out of you. So this type of knowledge is why they reformed schools and took it out. So you didn't know this. You didn't need to know the understandings of the universe. You needed to know the understandings of the cult you were enslaved to when you were born here. So that's why we're so brainwashed, and we all knew this, but now it's it's confirmed. You don't have to wonder. It's there. Here's numbers. Here's everything about the universe. Now you just kind of have to. Mm-hmm. So the book that I'm reading from, you guys can find right here. It's for free. It's a $9,000 book for a hard copy. If you go here, you'll go on the holyword.net. As soon as you open up, you'll hit Browse Library. When you open up Browse Library, you'll see like sections. It'll say like Bibles, Free Energy, Apothecary, books about magic. What you want to do, not about magic, you want to go to Free Energy and go to and look up the book Ancient Magic, Magnetism, and Psychic Forces. It should have been uploaded under books about magic, but I kind of wanted to make it to where I don't know. People were looking for free energy books on Joe's thing, so I added it to free energy. Huh? No, it's under free energy. Theholyword.net. There we go. And I'm going to pin this comment. There you go. Are you listening? Are you listening?
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm also reading.
Quest, you're very welcome, sweetheart. Absolutely. When you know this information, I don't know how you couldn't do this for somebody. How could you not? I did some digging on and the message needs to be perceived correctly and shared correctly. It can't be perceived incorrectly and shared incorrectly. That's like the most important thing of it all. If you're gonna get through the brainwash, you have to understand what is going on. If there's a word you read that you don't understand, look it up. You have to make sure you understand what's going on and what it's being said to you. If you need it simplified, because it's just like we haven't got there yet, we're not on that level of that understanding, go ahead and put that paragraph of what was just put out there, put it into AI and say, can you re-explain this to me? And before you actually understand it, you know what? That's actually not a good idea. That's not a good idea, because it might not get the message either. That's not a good idea. I'm sorry. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I just want you guys to understand that this is how important everything is, and how the power. There's just so much disinformation and negativity against it right now. Why would there be negativity against it? Why can't you just worry about your own thing? There's so many other trending topics on the internet right now. Worry about those. It would be a great idea if it was honest. If what was honest? Joe? No, not Joel Osteen, but Joe Felz. Do you know who that is? Don't let the people scare you. I'm fine. I don't have a girlfriend that's gonna put me in the freaking hospital and then freaking have me freaking admit it as soon as I get out again. I'm not gonna have that. I am in control of my own surroundings. Nobody can come in my door. If they want to try and Baker act me, they can't knock my door down just because someone says, "Hey, this, that, and the other." They have to they can't just do that. They can knock. They can knock. I don't have to answer. It's my home. Yeah, it's true. There's confirmed, there's been an investigation into it. Georgia Bureau of Investigation has already investigated. It's concluded. The girlfriend's saying she can't talk anymore because it's concluded, or she can't talk anymore because it's an investigation. But I looked, and it's not being investigated. It's over with. It was ruled a suicide, and they don't investigate things that are not crime. So when it's found not to be a crime, suicide's not a crime. Department of Justice doesn't take that. They closed it. If you don't believe me, real fast, I can just do a little. Let's see. Nope, that's the wrong button. A face, boom, and what's this one? There we go. Yes, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation was involved in investigating the death of influencer Joe Felz, but they have officially closed their inquiry. So, thank you, Quest. You the best. You the best. You the best. I didn't even see what the person said. Thank you, the best. You the best. I you shouldn't be in the pool of trying to just date multiple girls. You should find one that you want to be with, marry her, find your partner, be with that partner. Don't just date around, I wouldn't recommend that, because then you're just sharing all this energy with all these people, and it's you just, there's something that you need to connect and give it to one person if that's what you really want in companionship. But that's the thing, you don't actually need companionship to actually get onto the next place. That's kind of the thing all about it, is you only enter through yourself. The kingdom is through you. Your wife's kingdom is through her. Your kid's kingdom is through them. That's just how it is. Everyone's kingdom is through themselves. We just went over the chapters in the book, and we just went over the introduction of the book that went over the summary of this and explained it very well. I kind of explain it in a similar fashion. I'm sure other people who have seen it this way explain it in another similar fashion. We just have our own ways of describing it. You guys the best. Thank you for protecting me. You guys are the best. And you know what? So this person isn't gonna bother you. I'm going to mute them. They can watch. They can learn something. We're about to read more from the book, and so yeah, maybe you will have a different experience than what you intended to be here for. And I would like to be your friend. You can follow me, I'll follow you back. Send me a DM. Just be nice. I don't bite. I will bite if you attack my community or try to hurt them. And the same goes apparently with them. And I appreciate that. And that's just what you do. Those who have learned, you need to defend them, because you're stronger together. If we're all able to tap into magnetism, we would only be stronger together. There's nothing that you're fine. So don't worry, we're good. You could be good, and we would love to create a bridge of community with you as well. But that's, there's going to be wolves in sheep's clothing. We can be friendly, but we can't be always familiar with everybody. And that's including me and anyone who's watching. But we can move past that once you've proven that you are not the wolf. But the wolf can manifest in anyone. The wolf can manifest in me. The wolf can manifest in anyone. The wolf can manifest in anyone. That's kind of just how Satan works. But the more you are aware and awake, you know how to look for those signs when the wolf tries to use you as its bot for whatever in a moment's time. And sometimes you just do something that you didn't want to do and you feel sorry about it. Like there's things that, you know, that's why you have guilt and things like that. You do things you don't mean to do. It's because it's not you that's, you know, originally meant, or no, you didn't send yourself that command. Your thoughts aren't your own. That's why it's very important to learn how to ascertain original thought. And original thought is capable through certain personality codes. You have to be able to decode yourself and switch it to where you're able to do that. You can also shut it off to where you're not constantly connected like I am right now. When I'm connected, you can tell. When I'm not connected, you can tell. It's different. And all I'm here is just to teach people how to connect. It's not that you're anyone's born with a special gift like you were told. I'm healthy and I'm not suicidal. Just right, exactly. And that's the thing, the Muslims don't understand either. They don't critique what they, you know, the things about their own religion. You know, you can think you know all, but you didn't ascertain. You obviously didn't apply the information because you care too much about what other people's religion and what they think are. You still have the problem where you're looking at this speck in others' eyes when the Muslims have the log in their eye, worrying about everybody else. You shouldn't worry about what anybody else is doing. They should know the power through the next place is through them. That, you know. Anyone, any religion that is, you're bound to a religion, you're bound to a human telling you this. It's not God telling you this. Muhammad died. He wasn't divine. He wasn't a prophet. I'm sorry to tell you, but he wasn't divine. He died. He didn't come back. He died. And that's it. He died. So, but the thing is, Jesus came here and said, anybody else who says that they are a prophet, they are lying to you. Muhammad, 700 years later, defied all of Jesus's teachings, married multiple women, and, you know, all the sins, you know, of all ages of women, and also, you know, just claimed to be a prophet 700 years later after Jesus said, anyone who says this is lying to you. There should never be a place where there is one structure in one country where only one religion can go there and they block everyone out and nobody else can come there. They just won't accept you unless you think the way they think, especially when the way they think isn't even correct. It's still full of error codes. How are you supposed to sit there and think that when you die, you are owed 72 virgins? What are the virgins owed for being such good servants and being, I mean, I know that they're heavenly divine beings that are supposed to be whatever, but what do they get? They just get to be your slaves? That's not how divinity works. You don't get to have ownership over anything except yourself. I'm talking about everybody. It's, well, not just because of that. Yeah, that's what they use. They use religion to tell you this is how everything works and this is what will happen. I mean, it's all a facade. You are in control of your own temple. So you're in control of what your afterlife consists of. You're in control of all that. Jesus tried to show you, hey, you guys, look at this. This is, we actually can do more than you thought. And here is how you do it. And nobody listened. So they're like, oh my God, but I can't do it. And this person just died. Can you come show us again? And you'll go touch them and boom, they reactivate. Here they are. He found their soul on the back end server and put her back. You know, why would you want one? Sir, why would you even want one? That's a little... Doesn't the Bible say, do not covet? Why do you want? Why would you want that? That's... I mean... Gracias, mi amor. He say, roaches, Show this to, me take mice.
Is that you? Go ahead. Aquí.
Rinse agua? Oh.
Verte. Verte. Like verde.
Great. Yeah, we were just reading out of it. Here, you want me to read some? We were just reading some very amazing things. I'll start some more. Where did I? Okay. Magnetism is thus brought under the protection of science, which building blocks to all science is mathematics. I wish this person would have like said that instead of in place of science. So magnetism is thus brought under the protection of science. Protection of science, the laws of science. So the only way laws of science work is because of numbers, of math. Math is the building blocks to everything. So magnetism is thus brought under the protection of math. It exists under math and general intelligence, of which it will become active and a useful agent. Magnetism is no new principle. It is an organic development of the powers inherent in man. No fresh human characteristic is revealed by it. For all organic development of the present time has its origin in the past from whence it has successfully sprung. Thus, magnetism is, according to its nature, as old as humanity. But it is different with the doctrine regarding magnetism. This may be new since the facts scattered throughout the course of history must be collected, as we've done with Joe Felz Library Extended Project, must be compared with those of the present day, and a theory formed out of which a rational system of application may be obtained. So we're like, this is like us fulfilling a prophecy, because this is what we've done. It is no reason that because the history of magnetism, it is no reason that because the history of magnetism as yet vibrates between contradictory opinions, between fact and appearance, that we should not seek out its physiological root from amidst of physical and psychological facts which everywhere around. As concerns the historical facts of magnetism, people are now at all events convinced that which occurs to the individual is common to the whole race, and that those kindred phenomena have never failed in any age or nation. Magnetism is therefore a historical fact. So it just seems like the way he's writing this, it's almost like he's writing this about magnetism from intuition and not from observed sciences that have been discovered yet. It's like they were just in the beginnings of learning about magnetism. It just clicked for this person, and they were just like, listen, So, but for magnetism to become a fundamental thing in science, they were probably still, I don't know, just the way he's writing it, that's just what I'm getting. Although we do not associate with magic, hold up, that's so wrong. Ooh, that's chapter 2, magic, black and white. We're almost there. No, we're there now. So this is going to be number 2. So that was the end of 1. Here's chapter 2, Magic Black and White. If you want to screenshot that so you can just save that first page just to have and to go over. All right. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Jan. Yeah, because I had to outsmart the hackers. I had to outsmart the TikTokers. I had to outsmart the disinformation campaigns. And so everything's there. Everything Joe promised and way more. So I'm going through one of the ancient books, one of these texts. It was not ancient. It's ancient to us. It predates any of us and our grandparents and stuff. It was written in the 1890. 1895. So chapter 2, Magic Black and White, and it's not explaining how most books of magic explain magic. This one is actually telling you how it actually forms on a mathematical level and how to perceive it and how to understand it in a quest of learning how to actually correct the code of why you can't execute the command yourself. So man may become by the assistance and cooperation. I have a family here that is just it's like a. I'm sorry. Can you hear any spraying in the background? Is the noise cancellation on? Oh, I know about it. I'm teaching it to you. Man may become, by the assistance and cooperation of spiritual powers and capacities of his higher divine origin, capable of higher sphere of activity within as well as without himself, which gives him dominion over his well-own... give me a second. I gotta ask my... 1 second. Okay. I'll start over. Man may become, by the assistance and cooperation of spiritual powers and capacities of his higher divine origin, capable of higher sphere of activity within as well as without himself, which gives him dominion over his own and over surrounding nature. So it's plugging in multiple languages of reality, like coding languages of mathematics. It's codes. So man may become, by the assistance and cooperation, so together, the cooperation, the plugins, right? The assistance and cooperation of spiritual powers and capacities of higher divine origin, capable of higher sphere of activity. So your capacity is here. It's your brain. It's what you're able to do to edit code. As it was just saying before, I know some people are new here, but we were just reading what connected this into before. Within as well as without himself. So with the assistance and cooperation of spiritual powers, your intelligence, and able to tap into divine origin, the code of reality, the backend server, capable of higher sphere activity, the another variable, higher sphere of activity. So your higher vibrations, it's like when you're connecting to that plane, when I was talking about, you can tell when someone connects, it's a difference. And you can just tell. So higher sphere of activity, the state that the state of your physical being is in, and then within as well as without himself. So without himself, which gives him dominion over his own and over surrounding of nature. So you can't control anything around you if you can't control this. So when you can control this, then you can control everything around you. But you have to work on this first. If you can't work on controlling what's going on internally inside your body, like with the health and everything. You have to be able to have dominion over his own. It says, which you, all of this, with all these coexistence, will give you dominion to give you the code to edit like your health problems and everything around yourself. So this is how you gain control of yourself, by the assistance and cooperation of spiritual powers, the capacity of higher divine origin, capable of higher sphere activity. So you have to have the capabilities of tapping into it through your metaphysical state, within as well as without yourself, which gives you dominion over your own self and your surroundings. So in this sense, Pythagoras and his disciples were at a later period considered as teachers of good and wise magic. The lower or black magic, however, originated in the early times, in man becoming conscious of his unusual powers and without knowing their boundaries was easily inclined to ascribe them to foreign and supernatural influences, to demons, and according to his nature he would use them for good or evil purposes, either deceived himself or as a magician deceiving others. That magic descended by tradition from the early ages is shown everywhere by the primitive records of the human race. It is so eminently connected with the nature of man that we can only feel surprised that the learned should doubt it and think it requisite to ascribe everything to myths, as a tradition had no firmer or deeper foundation. So now I'm understanding myself. I'm understanding that his use of the word learners are people who learned from a school, So learners will doubt and think it requisite to ascribe everything to myth, as if tradition had no firmer or deeper foundation. Although we do not associate with magic the gypsy art of reading the hand and the science of making gold or discovering the philosopher's stone, yet it compromises much more than which the reason of sensible person might allow to pass unquestioned or reject as pure nonsense and absurdity. And this is the wonderful power of material means. This natural power of man is, however, not frequently met with, and is not of that kind which every mind is able to appreciate according to its value and power. The knowledge of such rare phenomena and their causes could therefore in remote times only be known to the highest sages and rulers, who preserve it among their secret learning and transmit it to their children under the cloak of religion, which all secrets were coveted. And that is why I locked down free Bible access, because we just started getting so many secrets, and I realized the public actually shouldn't have access to a lot of this, because of like what we're reading now. Joe Felz promises you can have those books. You can have what you know about, like Dead Sea Scrolls, Ruby Tablet, Emerald Tablet, all the missing books of the Bible. But there's some other things that are just like, like it's saying here, certain information was only kept for the highest sages and rulers, who preserve it among their secret learning and transmit it to their children under that cloak of religion, which all secrets were covered. There's a reason they were secrets, because people didn't use it correctly. So there's a reason they're secret. The more I learn this, I'm learning that it's actually probably not a good idea to share this everywhere. I know, I don't want to downgrade. I just, that would be going backwards. If I just swore myself to a cult and like gave myself to like the followings of a cult and like did their way of things rather than the right way of things, I mean, I'm not going to take someone's life just because they don't agree with me. I mean, I'm not going to follow the Quran. That doesn't make any sense to me. So, I take quick break from reading that because that's a lot of information. I realized like I was trying to do a service to human people, but I realized there's also, because like you see like how people like, you know, with the Muslim comments, those are certain people who aren't deserve, they just can't you shouldn't pass on knowledge to those, because then, you know, you can't make a wizard out of somebody that's evil. That just doesn't make sense. And that's basically what this book is explaining, of why these things were made secret and only kept for sages and the highest rulers, because it just couldn't be given to everybody. However, it is how they it should be naturally given to, like, everybody should be able to have the ability to have knowledge. And it's a sin, it says, not to give yourself the knowledge. And then, you know, but there's just, I see why they created society in a way. It was to control, but it was also, you know, because things were getting out of hand. You're right. Knowledge is those virtually secret. Like, it's there, and there's just a lot of people who aren't even caring about it. They're just worrying about like being on, you know, just only just watching through TikTok, and not like you guys, but like, I mean, like the people who are just obsessed and don't even care about the information. And it's part of this experiment is to pull that out and show that this is just part of what's going on with Joe Felz's book site, his original book site. I'm sure people fucked with it like they are fucking with mine, but that's why I created 3 domains and made it really hard for you. I made it a cat and mouse chase to where it's really hard for you to find which one was active and when it was going to be active, because of it wasn't because I was shutting them down. It's because I had Trojans and I had bots that would flood, and AI hackers that would flood just the members profile with fake accounts, like a whole bunch of fake accounts, and they make a whole bunch of fake posts in the community feed, and it'd make so many posts so fast in just like a couple seconds, like thousands per minute. And so by the time, like, in just like a couple like really just by a couple minutes, nothing would load on anything because there was just too many queries of things being submitted to post. And that's what crashes it. That's the errors. So that's an example of how an error in our own code could cause us to be insane and cause us to keep repeating behaviors in infinity until we don't actually correct the action. We don't change what needs to be changed until we edit that action. What's crazy is the Middle East man was saying that, oh, we're going to bring the Messiah back and all this. If you were so worried about bringing the Messiah, you wouldn't be starting a war and creating all these air codes, because the only way to actually do that was to, you know, as on earth as it is in heaven. You have to make sure that the devil can reach heaven again, so it can, you know, all that stuff in Revelation can happen. There's a prophecy. It's all a ritual. Every actions have to be executed correctly for the system to play them out. That's what a ritual is. A ritual is like a set of actions that are taken that make the magnetism or the laws of physics react in a certain way, just like how the sun beats on the earth and there's the rays of light. It creates like weather patterns and stuff like that. You can't see it, but that's what it's doing. It's affecting it through, as it was saying, how processes make things heat up. The sun is a process. It makes things heat up. Hey, so you guys do what you want. I'm chilling. What is it? Do you want to say hi? Every time I try to do something, whether I'm reading something good or I get in like whatever, my phone likes to fall. I can't just give that out because that's part of the thing. That's part of my secret code. How no one can. The only way people can know who I am is if they know the name of my cat, my lizard, and my snake, and nobody does. So you can't pretend who I am unless you know all three. And there's also a secret one that nobody knows about. So, cat, lizard, snake. Thank you. Yep, that's my girl. Yeah, you want breasted? Give me a second.
Like, Betty?
She sees the brush. Watch out! No, hit your, don't knock your teeth out now. Yes, yes. What? Okay. It's good? You want your stomach busted? You're okay. You were so funny. Yep. Life is good right now. I don't know why people, nobody has to worry about my safety. I'm not worried. There's no reason to worry. Life and fear is no life at all. Huh? What? I don't hack. I build. That's the thing. I use my forces to. Are you? Oh wait, are you the guy that hacked me and I sent them an army of Trojans back to you? Because there was two people that I was able to find your IP address, and so I normally don't do that, but sometimes you know what. Y'all, the comments is like crazy. Y'all don't fight with each other. So if there's somebody that is like going off on you or saying something about me and you're trying to protect me, like right now, there's no way they can get through to me. When I'm feeling weak and I'm like open and I'm like tapped in, that's when I need you to protect me because that's when I don't have like the force to protect myself. Right now, I'm fine. Um, I have no nothing. So against them, and I don't want anyone to combat any of the negativity. If anything, show them kindness. Don't kill them with the kindness. Don't do it in an intent to be mean. Actually use intent with kindness and say, just say something nice.
just genuinely say something nice. Come up with what, don't say what I'm telling you to say. Come up with what you want to say, and make sure that's the intent you want to say. That's part of how you can code your personality. It's like when you have a response, before you give it, edit it, and before you send it, edit your intent as well, and just change how you feel about the person, and just instead, don't feel bad for them. Just feel like that you love them and that you want them to see better for themselves, even if they're, you know, that they're probably not. You don't have to tell them that, but just say, whatever you feel compelled to, you know, instead of, you know, feed into the negativity, because that's what they want and that's what they've gotten from me earlier. And I don't want them to compromise anyone else of that anymore. Yes. We do want to find out what happened to Joe. I know I don't want to keep like pressuring and like pushing this thing, but we need to call out what's going on right now, and there's no investigation anymore. The investigation is now over, and if you don't believe me, and she's still not saying anything, so you're wondering why my posts are like whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I feel like, you know, there's times where like when I do connect to the situation, I use the word connect, and I know to me it sounds incorrect. Like because I don't look at it as like connecting. I look at it as like reading, and like when your brain is like too just busy like reading like numbers and information, you're not, you shut off a lot of the other ends of your processes, so like that like also guard your emotions and the emotional intelligence and those other things, and your perseverance and your introspection, and so it worries about other, like it goes to something else, and it tries to, what I tried to use is I shut off everything else and I use that, and I try to also communicate at the same time. And in between those two things, if I use my eyes to look at something that I don't agree with, the whole process gets screwed up. And since I'm not using my emotional intelligence and perseverance, like I can come off sometimes very like I have an attitude, and I'm sorry. So, but with this situation with his girlfriend, it does irk my soul on another level to see that she's avoiding accountability for her part that she played in the entire scenario. And, you know, when somebody takes themselves out, as far as we know at this point, until we learn more information, you don't go, like, you have revoked your status of being able to repent. So, but to my belief and knowledge and how like what I can see of like reading code of like in a different way, I'm pretty sure that we're able to do it on his behalf for him, since we can just use ourselves as an extended apparatus that still have the vocal ability to say what he needs to say. And I feel like I'm in a way doing that to, you know, find out what his girlfriend, you know, the thing with his girlfriend. I just feel like there's something else there, and I want to say it, but I can't say it because at this point it's more like speculation, because I don't have like a physical manifestation of proof to give someone. But when you work backwards and you understand numbers, you can kind of understand what happened. But there are still other variables. Like there's still a controlled variable that I don't have that would control the entire situation. So that could go either way. So until we know this certain thing, I can't say for sure if what I feel is correct. So, it's just how numbers work. When you know a certain variable, then you won't need to know anything else. You'll just be able to use algebra and another. You'll be able to use what you know about algebra, attach it to a different language of code that isn't written down, and you can. Yeah, sorry. That's what I'm trying to do, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm not trying. That's what I am doing. I'm just in my chill, modest state right now. But I have a monster inside of me that will fight anything that tries to attack me or the people that I care about, and burn whatever operation they have to the ground in a very righteous way. Not in like a physical manifestation of burning, but it will all deconstruct itself through truth. Everybody that's in the chat, say I love you. If you're here, say I love you or thank you or something of, or say thank you, something of gratitude, not to me, but to like the divine. Thank you for this experience or something on that. Just, here we go. Just so y'all know that it's not all just trolls in here. You guys are all, you guys, on his ass.
Where's the light?
There we go. Praise all. Any good message, just put it in the chat. Anything you want to write, just put it in the chat. Something positive. Let's change the energy. Change the vibes. Let's uplift this. Thank you. Survival. If you haven't sent the heart me, if you're gonna send a rose, send a heart me. Tap this thing. Apparently that thing I guess helps. It says that helps. It says this helps. Like the little repost thing. But thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. But yes, if you guys could hit the repost this button, like this one, hit that, and then you don't have to share it to nobody, but there's like a button that should be like over here. It says repost. Thank you. Okay, so we does anybody want to come in here and talk and say something? If you know that you're not a wolf in sheep's clothing, reveal yourself. Just come say hi. Say hi, friend. Come up here. I don't bite. I'm just a normal ass bitch from a trailer park. Like, I don't live in a trailer park now. But I'm just a normal ass bitch from the trailer park. Or, like, my dad smokes crack. Like, I'm normal. Y'all can come up. Thank you. Just come up. Say hi. Come up here. Someone requests come say hi. I'm lonely up here. Brandon, you gonna come up here? You reading your book? Thank you. These were mistakes. So yeah. Mistakes. But we're here now. And that's why I can understand as well. It's thank you for bringing this up actually, because a lot of people are trying to decode Joe Felz's tattoos. And for example, I hope people don't go off of my tattoos because, bitch, I got an X right here. It says Lizzie Borden on the handle, like she signed it. I have a few things that would be questionable on my body, but it's not a representation of who I am now. Thank you. Yes, you guys. So have you guys been on the Discord? Have you guys learned anything? I really like the team. I don't want to always virtue signal and and cite these people to wake up and fight in a sense of fighting. I would also like people to go in a sense of love over to his page and say things of love about Joe, things of just keep things alive, just keep things going, because there's a lot of things where people are just I don't know, there's just so much bad things going on about him, about myself. I don't want anyone to really go and say anything about me in any sort of good light, but about Joe on his page, anywhere, just I know you guys already do, but do it again and just keep doing it.
for right now. We'll work on doing things the right way. But if you would just do as I say, because I do these things too, and I don't just do them for my account now. Not this one, because this one doesn't have just 900 followers anymore. So I have to use a different account with yeah. The, anyway. It's my I so yeah, I go and I check on stuff and I write things and I just like, you know, but then I also use it for, you know, being direct. But there's also times we just still have to kind of like, it's like our grounding method. You still want to get your method across. You still want to like also be loving, nourishing, and transmuting all those things that Jesus told us to do, but you still want to use your discernment. You want to do everything, you know, but like people are going to call you bipolar. They're going to say you're schizophrenic. They're going to say you have multiple personalities. And you probably need to understand they're right. They're right. That's what they call it, but that's actually natural. All those things and how you process, because when you utilize different parts of yourself, you are going to have different exponential neural pathways that get you to have different experiences that are displayed to other people, if that makes sense. For you, it's just you might be processing faster than other people can perceive or that other people are used to. Some people don't like to process emotion fast and move on to the next thing, or you know, like settle it and add insert another query. It's like completing a query, going on to the next thing, and then like editing your code. You have to have a multiple person. You're going to be perceived as having multiple personalities if you edit your code, and that's why they call it. I guess that's why they call it. It's just like code switching. So when you switch up your personality, I guess that's why they call it code switching. I guess that's what is that's what code switching is. I don't like know like I don't know, but like the like slangs and like you know urban terms. But I know what I'm like, what I'm trying to explain, but I'm trying to use English to transmute it. It says our community just teared up. Thank you, whatever that means. I'm good on that. What are you good on? What did I say that you're good on? Or is your time in the comment? Thank you. I'm trying. Right now, I'm just chilling because part of the work is also staying live, connecting with people, new people. There's a lot of disinformation, so when someone sees it, they go to my page, they check, they can see I'm live, they can even join in, and then they get a sense of what we're talking about, what we're doing. You have to be able to code switch. That's how you're able to. You have to edit your code because there's going to be errors that are wrong with you, and you have to be able to edit them. So you have to be able to switch your code. But that's the thing. When you're doing these things naturally, they classify them as, illnesses, so they can give you medicines to suppress them, so you probably can't access that higher knowledge or understand it or even have like it suppresses your brainwaves on such a level that you can't actually think hard enough to understand a book like that. I know because I used to be on like heavy, like, for people who heard earlier when I was like in that program at 14, for some, just because I was smoking cigarettes, I was put on 8 medications at one time. And one of those medications was 900 milligrams of lithium.
Okay, I was on risperidol. It gave me a lesion on my brain for taking that medicine, on my pituitary and my penile, um, and my hypothalamus. Also, um, I was taking Wellbutrin. I was taking Lamitragine and also Seroquel, and like they were really keeping me heavily medicated, and like it was just so fucked up. So fucked up. I was 14 years old. That wasn't even it. I was on Klonopin as well, 2 milligrams 3 times a day. There was one more. I was also on Concerta and one other thing. One other thing. Um 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 Bactrim. No, not no. That's a fucking. That's a fucking. Not, it's not that. It's because that's a fucking antibiotic. What the fuck? It starts with Boost Bar. Boost Bar. That's what it's called. I don't know why I said that. What the fuck? No, Boost Bar. So yeah. So, but I quit everything in 2016, and then I saw a therapist. Well, I quit. I was seeing a therapist because my ex-husband also everything, like, because it was just a lot growing up, and then getting married at a young age, and then having a very just different life, flip-flopping from the trailer park to something way different, to learning about AI and like cryonics and shit. It was crazy. So all the time you're gonna like, that's why I can handle people telling me I'm crazy, because like I know I'm not. Like I've been through everything. And though it's crazy is I've never ever since like all that stuff when I was younger with my mom, I've never had to go to a mental anything ever again. Like it was never. It just was because I was smoking cigarettes and sneaking out. So because I did those two things, and also because I broke out of the program and all the things, they kept heavily just putting me on more medicine, and it got to the point where I was like, I just was like, fuck this shit. And I was like pretending to swallow it and spitting it all out while I was in that program as well, because I could tell, like, when I tell you they gave me Seroquel, they didn't just give me 50 milligrams of Seroquel. They gave me 300 milligrams of Seroquel, 900 milligrams of lithium, 300 in the morning, 900 at night. I had 2 milligrams of Klonopin 3 times a day. Like, they tried to just keep me sedated. They didn't want me to think. Oh, 300 milligrams. Oh, yeah. My mom used to give it to my grandmother, and my grandmother would cut it up, and, like, she'd cut a little shaving off of it and knock her ass the fuck out. I actually used to use it to drug my mother, and my mother knows about this all and everything. But it's all good now. We forget, we're all forgiven, but I used to do it. So she'd put me on these heavy meds. I'd be like, fuck this, and she'd make me cook all the food for everybody. Well, not make that. I shouldn't say it like that. She was working. She's a single mom. She had 3 kids. I was the oldest, so I had to, like, take care of my younger brothers. When by the time she got home, like, I had to have dinner made and stuff. So, well, I just take my Seroquel, take a little bit of it, crush it up, and if I was making whatever I'd make sure that I just heavily season it so you wouldn't taste anything. And 30 minutes later, that bitch is the fuck out. But. And so I do that to sneak out, because I didn't have a childhood. I was not allowed to have friends. My brothers had lives. My one brother had a dad. He got to go with his dad every fucking weekend. I wasn't allowed to do anything. I had to stay with my mom all the time, and it was just very strict, and I couldn't do anything, just couldn't do anything else. So I was always searching for social connection. I was just never allowed to make my own choices. My middle brother, we didn't have a great dad, but he had we had, like, my dad's neighbors were like our grandparents. So Nana and Pap, they weren't our Nana and Pap, but my brother they had a favorite between me and my brother. And since I played with, like, dolls and stuff, they liked my brother because he liked hunting and stuff. So they took him like on every weekend, like they would watch me in the like until when I was younger, me and my brother, until my mom got off work. And then on the weekends, my brother got to stay with them all weekend and do all sorts of fun stuff. And I just had to stay at home with my mom, not allowed to play video games, not allowed to do anything, just chores, just chores, just chores, just chores. So yeah, I got tired of that. I didn't have a childhood. I didn't get to do anything fun as a child. Nothing. I just had to work with horses, ride horses, train horses, barrel race, do farm chores, stay at home, do chores, go to school, do chores, get my ass beat because when I get tired of it and just, yeah, I just got, yeah. So I would start giving my mom my Seroquel and I'd go live my fucking life. And then, so yeah, I've always, when people would use things against me, I'd always turn around and use it against them. And like, I stopped enough to where like I would stop doing that to the people I love, because like I understand. Well, also I wish the people that I love would not do that to me, but like I learned that that's not what love is and all that stuff. But yeah, here we are. I'm not crazy. It's just we go through shit. Yeah, me too. I'm glad we're all here. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for saying that. I'm glad you're all here. Oh, y'all are so sweet. Y'all are so nice. You know what? Does anybody else want to come up and introduce themselves? Thank you guys so much for the gifts. I know you. Sorry, dude. You know what? I'm not like a fucking person who normally does this shit. So when people when the big things pop up, they're so cute, and I love seeing them and stuff. And then I forget that that's money you're spending, and I forget to say thank you and thank you to everybody who's like sent stuff. Those things are so cute. I just wish you could do that without money, because I just like. I don't know. It makes it these people, these fucking people, these TikTok and overlords. They make it fun, but it's like pay to play. Like what the hell? I want help the reading, but not today. Oh, of course. No, yeah, absolutely. Does anybody want to come up and help, like read a page out of the book? If you don't want to say, you can read. And then we can go over what we read together, so we can like help hear what each other get from it. And then like it's good. If I hear your take and then you hear my take, that would be good as well. We're gonna get multiple perceptions from the book. I understand it with the language that I understand, and you might understand it in a different way. But then, like, it's also good while we have a book club, because we can go over the things that we read, and then we can also, correct errors amongst what we've understood. Because we all have to understand the same thing. All the knowledge has to be the same. That's how it works. That's why I was talking about in the book. All the people, they can all know all the ones that know the knowledge. When I was reading a paragraph out of it, I also understood more information than what he wrote. There was more information that, like, when all the knowledge is ascertained to the same individuals, and they know exactly, like when I was talking about your hands and like how the magnetism with your hands and your eyes and everything. I believe the magnetic field is stronger when there's more of the conductors that are transmuting that energy, the magnetism, the magnetic fields, but while all having the same intent, same thing they're looking at, same thing they're pointing their hands at. It's like the thing is stronger. So I believe that you have to learn and understand the same information, because that's part of how, if you were to do a group project on this, like if you do it yourself, great, and another person does it themselves, great, but you have to be able to make sure you're using the same language so you guys can do it together. And you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Okay, perfect. Because it's good, because when I explain it, or when someone else who understands explains it to someone else and gets them to understand, they're able to, once it's understood, they can explain it to someone else who doesn't understand, and then they can understand it, and it can spread that way. I believe, and I can almost guarantee 99.9999% that's what Jesus meant when he said, when he had his disciples spreading the gospel, he gave them the messages, told them exactly what to do, and then go tell the people. I just wish somehow he would just manifest here in another material form without doing like what was said in the Bible and the prophecy, and just be like, okay, I'll tell you one more fucking time, you know? Because we a new generation, man. Like, we different people now. Like, they lying to us. Like, can't you just like come back and just like, all right, one more time. Right, basically. Here it is, one more time. Here you go. Here's how I did it every way and how I got it to work correctly. And you gotta stop fighting with the Jewfish. And the Jewfish gotta stop fighting, and the mushrooms gotta stop fighting. And you know, they just gotta stop. And they just gotta be like, okay, no, we all have to be on the same wavelength and learn the same fucking thing, not divide it and be like, no, follow this God, higher power. No, the temple's within you. What are you talking about? No, you can access. You don't need a follower to do that. You have God, yeah, to connect to, but you don't need a man or other people to lead you there. You can do that yourself. The temple is within you. Yeah, that's what's keeping us all on the same wavelength, because we can't learn the same information. It shouldn't be about opinion. You shouldn't have a feel. The opinion is your feeling. You shouldn't have a feel. So that's a part of a personality of you're tapping into. It's the feeling side. It's the feeling is when you can't, accept what the truth. Also, judgment is also part of that as well. But it's also not just judgment is when you can't edit your beliefs and yourself. And so when you're like a J at the end of your personality. How the hell we got? Thank you guys for getting us up to 50,000 likes. We've only had 3,000 people join. So thank you for doing everything, and trying to get this out to new people. I mean, and I shouldn't have said only, because that's so like a lot more people that we've got through, because we've got new followers from it, and so we keep reaching new people. So the lives are still beneficial. We're reaching new people. They're hearing what we're saying. Does anybody want to get back into reading the book? Or is everybody's brain fried? Yes, okay. Oh wow, that's awesome. Good. So yeah, keep interacting with like spiritual posts so you can so your FYPs can just, and it's also good because you can also, there's a lot of people spreading spirituality or what they think they know about it that also might be a tad bit incorrectly perceived sometimes. And so when you understand what you doesn't need to be explained, and then you see someone that like is explaining it a little bit incorrectly but you've already understood it, you can also say, hey, also think about this, da 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 da, and just kind of, because sometimes people just, they're very strong in their beliefs, because it all goes back into, everyone has their own opinions. Well, that's not how everybody gets to be divine. Okay, please continue. Wake up, computer. Holy crap, the information on this shit. Here we go. Okay. The aspiration of woman is towards the pure and noble, as she attracts herself to a man who is ever seeking after that peculiar nature with which she as a woman is endowed, and this she does not in order to retain him in a lower sphere, but to ascend him into a higher. And if on one hand woman is an encircling power to man, and on other hand she is by his side through the labyrinths of life, and by contact with him his frame, oh wait, whoa, and by, sorry, I scrolled down the way these things were. The books. The books are like this. I was reading at the bottom of here, and I scrolled down and started reading from here. It actually comes back over here. So, 1 second. If you guys wanted to screenshot this and see, like, what I'm reading on this page, that's what I've read, and then we're gonna be reading off of this page. Okay. And in one hand, woman is an encircling power to man, and on the other hand, by his side, through the labyrinth of life, and by her gentleness, patience, and love, softening and restraining his fiery impatience of character. In this sense, woman is called the crown of man. High as the destiny of woman, yet she has a closer affinity to the night side of nature than man, and especially exposed to temptation, deceit, curiosity, and discretion, and desire to enslave man by her charms, and to see the creations of her imagination realized are the shadow-like, and incline her to the study and practice of occult knowledge. Night, sleep, and dreams affect women more than man, and therefore the power of the seer is of a commoner occurrence with her than man. Soothsaying widely differs from the black magic, although it cannot be denied that natural magic borders upon the world of night, since through worship of nature it more and more removes man from the worship of divinity. So it's saying that she's the counterpart to man,
She's the balance. She's more of the night. The man is more of the day. So she's more in tune with her sleep and her dreams, and they affect more of her than it does the man. Whereas he is more of a fiery. He beats with the sun. She beats with the moon. And their physical form. So there's more spiritual forms in that. There's other parts to it, but the physical body, the physical manifestation of the actual natural. The worship of Okay, ceasing widely differs from the black magic, although it cannot be denied that natural magic borders upon the world of night. So through worship of nature, it more and more removes man from the worship of the divinity. So it's basically saying, like, soothsaying is, from what I'm gathering, is soothsaying like sugarcoating? Like, is soothsaying, like soothsaying, is that another way of saying sugarcoating? I want to be able to say this correctly. I want to make sure if I say this correctly, I want to, like, repeat it correctly. Yes, she is. Okay. The act of telling or predicting future events. Okay. Soothsaying. So, soothsaying widely differs from black magic, although it cannot be denied that natural magic borders upon the world of night. So, natural magic borders upon the world of night. Through worship of nature, it more and more removes man from the worship of divinity. The worship of nature among the heathens, so long as it does not become dark and satanic, being simply a materialized worship of the Supreme, does not prevent relations reaching them from a higher world. The Kabbalah teaches that the heathens receive revelations and true dreams. It even maintains that in general, the heathens are capable of receiving the Holy Spirit as the Christians. There is a coarse unclean, which is an abomination before God, and yet subtler, and which causes a dimness in the soul. The nearer man approaches sacred things, the more lively becomes his sensibility to this dimness, as may be seen in the instance of the prophets. Yeah. So, for example, like me being gay, and I've always, like, known this, and so this is the coarse unclean, which is an abomination before God, and yet subtler, on which causes a dimness in the soul. The nearer man approaches sacred things, the more lively becomes his sensibility to this dimness, as may be seen in the instance of the prophets. Which external things, it is also the same. The more closely man assimilates himself to them, the more susceptible he becomes for the tuma. Those organic things which come most into contact with his frame are more liable to become unclean than objects which are more remote and have less affinity with him. The human corpse, according to this law, is far more unclean than dead bodies of beasts. Man being the most highly organized creature in his decay, the most vaulting decay takes place. The later Talmudists therefore declare The latter Talmudists therefore declare that a far higher degree of uncleanness exists in the corpses of holy men than in the corpses of unholy. Excepting for it's saying that wow, okay. Excepting for the present, the general idea regarding sin through sin, man not alone has caused suffering to the divinity, but throughout the universe, especially in this our world, where nature has become full of dissonances and all creation sighs beneath the curse of Adam's sin. Man returning in penitence, God together with the guardian angels is ever ready to aid him in the contest with sin. In the same degree that man desires goodness, does he attract God's influence, and the darkness is changed into light and severity into mercy. Idolatry, murder, and immortality are the three chief divisions of moral uncleanness. So idolatry, following somebody. Murder, you know what that is. Immorality. It's just doing things that are immoral, things that you just know are incorrect. Are three chief divisions of moral uncleanness. Those unnatural unions which are spoken of in the Old Testament are to be regarded as belonging to this species of uncleanness, seething the kid in its mother's milk, the yoking together the ox and the ass, the yoking together the ox and the ass, planting near to each other of trees of adverse natures. The Kabbalah observes with reference to the forbidden marriages between near of kin. Then in such unions an unnatural evolution takes place, the branches being as it were bent backwards the root instead of spreading widely from the tree. This sucks. Speaking of the and I knew this, and I know that at some point I have to fix myself. Speaking of the contagious power of evil, the Kabbalah says that as physical disease spreads forth from men, so does the uncleanness of the soul ever magically stream forth, possessing a power of contamination, not alone for men, but for external things. From this proceeding, this repulsion felt by the pure and in the presence of the wicked, a repulsion the more keenly experienced, the higher is the purity. Each evil deed, each impure word is thus possessed of a magical existence which renders unclean all around it. Equally strong with the laws against Tuma and the laws against magic. According to the Bible and the Talmud and the Kabbalah, magic is divided into three classes. The first, as an abomination to be punished, like idolatry, with death. The second, with scourging. And for the third, no punishment is ordained, but it is pronounced wrong as leading from reliance upon God. The first class includes all evil enchantments and magical cures, the citation of evil spirits, and the calling forth the dead through aid of demons. The invoker of the dead is alone condemned to death. The questioner of dead is scourging. According to Moses, it is simply forbidden to practice magic, not to be acquainted with the art, or to study it, since the members of Sanhedrin must have been acquainted with magic before being able to pass judgment upon it. The second class includes that magic which is produced through the agency of the lower and evil spirits of nature, by which means man is often led astray. The third class, although not so strictly forbidden, is nevertheless pronounced unfit for the pious Israelites, and this is astrology. According to the Talmud and the Kabbalah, the stars have as an influence upon man as upon the whole of nature. This is what I was telling you about. For the constellations presiding at the birth of child determine its physical and mental qualities. That's what I was saying earlier about astrologies. I said the CIA has confirmed in 2018 that this is a confirmed and well-supported science. That every mineral, stone, and wood it has crashed into this planet at like a different location. There's more in certain areas, so it absolutely matters where you were born, because you manifest with the more of those materials of where those collisions with the earth happen, where all those minerals are. So it really does screw us up when we're being mass fed from these grocery stores and not eating things that come from the ground of where we're from. Or when we move and we don't go back to where we're from, like this is all part of it. So it screws up our energy. So I'll read it again. The third class, although not so strictly forbidden, is nevertheless pronounced unfit for the pious Israelites, and this is astrology. According to the Talmud and the Kabbalah, the stars have as great an influence upon man as upon the whole of nature. For the constellations presiding at the birth of a child determine its physical and mental qualities. Intercourse with this so-called spirits of nature belongs also to the class, and these spirits were all designated Skedim, a name also borne by evil demons, but these spirits must not be confounded with satanic beings. The foregoing, which includes some extra... The foregoing, which includes some extracts from Molitor's writings, are sufficient to give the contents of the Kabbalah with regard to magic, which it treats of in all its ramifications, containing that which become Christian, mysticism, and the magic of the Middle Ages. Also, it contains much regarding what we now designate animal magnetism. So now we're on chapter 3, dreams, visions, and the true magic. So yeah, I was saying that astrology is a well-supported science. This is calling it magic. So magic and science are the same thing. It's just mathematics. They just don't want to tell you that astrology is magic. It's or magnetism. It's magnetism. It's how it affects you. It's what you're drawn. It's what draws you to certain emotions, to certain places. It's why you're here now. It's astrology. When they say written in the stars, there's a reason. Like someone came up with that because that's how they saw it, written in the stars. Damn, you are just so amazing. I need to hire you as my bodyguard. What you doing for work? I'm just playing. Yeah, does someone want to go explain it for them? You want to come up here and explain it for them? I can, pin this comment. No, absolutely. I just feel like if I advocate for myself,
it's probably not. It's not gonna resound with you the same as if someone else says it. That's been a witness. BibleAccess.com isn't a site, Brian, and FreeBibleAccess.com has more secrets than than we thought were going to be released. So there's like over 400,000 on there. So I closed it out after all the attacks. I think everybody saw what was on there, and they were just like, just once I fixed everything, I unpublished the project so it couldn't be accessed, and all those secrets are now stored in my database. And but I wanted to make sure all of Joe's projects were stored on the actual Joe's community, like the Holy Word the holyword.net. It's on there. Everything, all his books are on there and more. But there was just so much, and there's like this disinformation campaign that's going on against us, and now there's so I'm trying to protect that knowledge from being used against us. That knowledge could be used to regenerate a fake community, and they can mass market it, put a lot of money to promote it, and then just confuse everybody of what the real mission is. So I'm just safeguarding his project. I've released his original project, and now we're extending it, but we're just gonna make sure it lives on in a more thought out way. We're doing the thinking still. I just have to pee one second. No, it can't. It's greater than all of us. And you know what? And Joe absolutely deserves to have his name written in history for bringing so much awareness into this. So we just wanted to make sure it was very Joe coded in his mission. I'm not somebody who wants to be followed. I want to teach those who want to be taught, but that's basically it. I know there's a lot of people who wanted to find the information, and so they have the information. A lot of it's hard to understand, so I'm just here to, after you have access, I'm here to explain a lot of it to the people who want to know. There's just a lot of people who are worried about doing the social media thing, and I'm not doing that. I'm being genuine about it, and so I didn't know who Joe was, and I want to clarify that I've never said I knew who Joe was, and I've never met the guy. I literally saw. I didn't know anything until I needed to know about it. I knew about it at the right time, and I saw that somebody had built a project. They were talking about the Lord, or they were talking about Jesus and what they believed to be true, and I knew he was speaking the truth because I knew the same information he knew. So I was like, okay, and they killed him. So my first post was like, okay, 40 and died, let's see something. So I just made a social experiment. Was my intent to just, I didn't think it was gonna like do this, but I just thought that I was gonna like just try. And once it showed that it was gonna work, I was like, I'm not stopping. I'm going to make sure this is successful, and that we figure out what happened to him and all sorts of things. Like we're gonna do all the things that is righteous in this situation. Yes, absolutely. And it is really that hard. Or I'm sorry, that book was written by somebody. You have to understand you're going to be reading a lot of run-on sentences, and I write in run-on sentences, because like when I try to, and I probably talk in them too, but when I try to give information, I try to give as much detail as possible when I'm especially when I'm writing something down, because like especially when I have to give commands to my computer, I have to be very specific about what it needs to be. And so can you explain this information? What exactly is the information Joe found versus what we think we know? Um, so what you think you know is you're missing a lot of the language of the universe of how the back end works of mathematics. All what you've been taught to think of what magic is actually all everything is mathematics. Nothing exists without math, because mathematics is the building blocks to all science. There's no science without math. So the basis of everything of this universe is numbers. So that means yes, everything is code. This is all code. It's a simulation, but not a virtual simulation of what you think of a simulation. It's not like that. It's actually more perfect than that. So yeah. You just have to, and then we're going over this book, and you probably just got in here, and we've just read some very powerful information. I guess I'll just start reading some more. If you just asked if you're still here, Miss Jackson, I'm gonna pin this comment, and I'll just read another couple paragraphs of this new chapter. Okay. Chapter 3. Dreams, visions, and the true magic. Visions arise from more than a mere introversion or from... Okay, so let me read it and then I'll explain it. Visions arise from more than a mere introversion or from groundless appearances. It is generally believed that they arise from a direct inward seeing and in a more extended view. As I'm talking about mathematics and the code, the extended view of looking at numbers, we were taught numbers in 1, 2, 3, like in that how and the symbols of what they look like. In that way, numbers actually look like this, like that painting on the wall, like the everything, the existence of us right now doing this, the phone, the connection between us, my voice, you understanding what I'm saying, it hitting your ears, your brain understanding it, that is a form of telecommunication. Like I communicated it here. We're not in the same location. You're hearing this hundreds, maybe thousands of miles away as I'm saying it. So all that is mathematics. That's all the extended view. So it is generally believed they arise from a direct inward seeing and in a more extended view, an activity of the fancy independent of the outer senses. So this is how you can feel and think outside yourself. The difference between a seer and a poet, who often mutually exchanges characters, is this: that the poet not only sees and understands that which is before him, but that carried away, he enters fully into that which is before him and creates a harmonious forms. This occurs at will from the recollections of his mind. No true poet is wanting in his power of the seer, which is created in him as a gift from heaven and cannot be gained by artificial means. One can clearly see what is meant by the saying that poets and true artists must be born such. The inner creative power must not put forward those shadows which lie in the memory of imagination freely and without design or forethought. They must unfold, grow, expand, contract, so that from being mere undefined shapes, they become truthful and well-defined pictures. That's like when you, so this is how you
can give yourself a photo. You can you can give yourself a photographic memory by doing what this book is saying, but it's you're exercising your mind. That's why it's saying it. You have to do. They must unfold, grow, expand, contract, so that from being mere undefined shapes, they become true, full, and well-defined pictures. So that your thoughts, it's talking about your thoughts. Your thoughts have to unfold, grow, expand, contract, as that from being mere undefined shapes. There we go. I had a capture thing pop up. So that they become truthful and well-defined pictures. So you have to exercise your thoughts. The higher the genius, the more mature is the idea in the first instance. In drawings by Raphael and Michelangelo, the idea is at once clearly and firmly shown. In the infancy of the world, no difficulty was felt in explaining these more remarkable of all phenomena of human existence. The Oriental nations ascribed them to celestial spirits and the Jews to angels and devils, who lived in social intercourse with men, divided according to certain gradations of the soul, provided with various good and evil powers. The Egyptians entertained a similar belief, and the Greeks and Romans supposed them to be the demons, or even in occasional instances their gods. According to oh my gosh, I can't even remember how to pronounce the name. Democritus. According to Democritus, visions and dreams are passing shapes, ideal forms which proceed from other beings, so that even in sleep the soul has an equal activity as in the waking state. But was this difference that in the latter only the usual and everyday shapes appear, whilst in the former those alone are visible which a soul is capable of observing, and for which it is in a state of expectation? Heraclitus entertained a very similar theory. According to him, the activity of the senses arises from a participation in the surrounding celestial ether. The ether being the air, this medium. And so like the ground is a medium, the water is a medium, this is a medium. Light passes through the ether. This is what they're talking about. The difference between sleeping and waking, he says, is that in the latter, the divine portion is drawn in not only by the act of respiration, but also by the organs of sight and smell, while on the contrary, in sleep, the communication with the celestial ether is confined to respiration alone. But that this is the only dim light which illuminates man by night and causes him to see things in dreams. In death alone is the light entirely quenched. So celestial ether, I guess, is what they're amassing to be space, or the cosmos, or and in this form, because like ether, and what he was using it earlier was to pass light pass through the ether, which is the atmosphere. So if the celestial ether, I'm assuming, means space. I'm assuming. I couldn't understand what else that would be. From these